Conversation.
Now Satan is making me clean myself up while he watches. Good thing he's got all these discarded Nintendo Power Supply catalogs I can use on my asshole.
Hello and welcome to the Kongversation. I'm Hyle Russell, and I wanted to do something special for Halloween this year. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to launch a new reoccurring episode type, because we all love those, right? Now, how do you continually bleed discussion out of 25-year-old games? It's hard to do, right? The way I do it is I focus on new levels of in-depth analysis, or rather, old levels. So this is Destination Donkey Kong Universe, where we take one world or area of a particular game, and then we zero in on what makes it so special. And since it's Halloween, it had to be a spooky world, and that just seemed like the perfect opportunity to finally have on the show my co-host for the episode. She previously worked for the community team at Rare before moving to Playtonic Games, where she serves as community manager or something. That's it, right? Like, that's the total extent of your job. That's all you do is just the silly tweets.
Are you really starting this by antagonizing me?
Yes, I am. Hi.
So not only are you bringing me on for a scary episode, because I assume that I'm frightening, but you got my job title wrong too.
Yeah.
Is that? Okay,
that's what I did, yeah.
Setting the tone, right.
Yes. So, before all of that, though, she was active in our community and still is as Daley Kong. So please welcome to the Kongversation, Daley Johnson.
Hello. I'm not normally introduced, like that. Properly.
You're not what?
Would you like to say my my actual title? Just so people know.
Just so people know how much work you do, sure.
Okay.
Oh, you want me to say it?
Yeah.
I don't know it. It's long and complicated.
It's really not.
I'm
an engagement director, but that's basically it just encompasses all things communication, I guess, at Playtonic. So a lot of stuff, many hats.
So communication, so you fix the telephones when they break.
Yes, and IT support, because sometimes the programmers need help when their PCs break, so they kind of draft me in to deal with that.
That's all people think you're going to do now. That's what they think your job entails is IT support. So
I'm okay with that because, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that would love to fix Steve Mills' PC. So I'm happy to take that on. I
just want to steal his banking information, get all of that sweet Donkey Kong Country cash.
I think Greg's the one with the money.
Oh, okay. Well, no, the Stampers are the ones with the money. Everybody else, they live in a fucking castle or something like that.
Yeah, they have a mansion near me or something. I've been past it a few times and just felt both terror and admiration, knowing that I was potentially near a Stamper. That sounds weirder than it is, I've drove past their mansion a few times, one of their mansions, anyways.
Yeah.
No, it's not like that. I'm not stalking them. It's just, I just happen to be aware that a lot of Rare's history, I guess, is kind of in the Midlands where I live, so...
Yeah, I would just imagine they're crazy, recluses at this point. They have all of that money, and they're just now shut away, collecting their own urine in jars, and...
What?
That's what people do when they have so much money. They just get a bit crazy, and there's no shame in it. If that's what makes them happy, then by all means, pee in all of the jars you want to, Stampers. I'm happy for them.
What? What? Okay.
So,
I see. My first thought was, do they have a monkey butler?
Well, that would be your first thought, and that's how we differ as people, Daley. No, I wanted to have you on the show to talk about a particular world and what I think is your favorite game of all time. It's definitely mine, Donkey Kong Country 2. And obviously that world is Krem Key. So we'll be talking... No, it's Gloomy Gulch. We'll be talking about Gloomy Gulch on this episode. If you couldn't figure that out from the episode title, people at home, the spooky haunted world of DKC 2. But before we get to that, I need to plug a couple of things. So please just bear with me, Daley. I can already hear you mentally checking out. Please think about supporting DK Vine on Patreon, dkvine.com/Patreon. Give us $1 a month. I don't care. I don't have stamper money. I dispose of my urine. So, I'm not asking for that much. I'm just asking for enough to run my business. So anything you could contribute would be a great help. And you get lovely prizes through the mail as well. So why not do it? I don't know. You could be poorer than me. And in that case, I apologize. Don't I feel like an asshole? dkvine.com/Patreon. Also, we should probably plug what you've got out in the world right now, Daley, and that is a video game that you helped do a little writing for and a lot of publicity for, and that is Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. In 5,000 words or less, why should people play it?
See, I did mentally check out, so I wasn't expecting you to actually address me.
Oh, really? You just stopped listening to me. Okay.
These bits are usually really long and boring, so...
I've been told how awful I am as a host. You're not the first, so...
No, I'm kidding. Basically, okay, so I tweeted this the other day. Yooka-Laylee and Impossible Lair is not DLC for Yooka-Laylee. It's its own game, and it actually plays a lot like... I mean, it's not a Donkey Kong Country spiritual successor. However, it does play a lot like Donkey Kong Country 2. And if you think I'm lying, why don't you go ahead and prove me wrong and buy it and play it? So... that's why you should play it and buy it. It's actually, it's a lot of fun, honestly.
That's why they should do it out of spite?
Yeah, exactly. I'm being antagonistic now. It's a good game, and we put a lot of work into it, and a lot of love into it, and there's loads of good music in it too. So you should buy it, because I told you to. Well, and also follow us on Twitter. Yeah.
Yes, you can follow them on Twitter at Playtonic Games. Is that right? Did I forget what it actually is?
It's the thing is, there's actually an account that's at Playtonic, and because I track at Playtonic, they just get loads of stuff that's got to do with this, like, lizard and bat that they are just nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
But yes, at Playtonic Games, not Playtonic. That's just some random person trying to live their lives. Please don't tweet them.
Some random person play Tonic of the Tonics. They're a very well-to-do family, and we should pay them proper respect.
Absolutely.
Also follow Daley at Daley_Kong.
I mean, it's not the best advice that Hyle's given you, but I'm sure you're used to that.
No, I know how badly you want to get to 9,000 followers on Twitter.
Why 9,000?
Because you're at 8,500 some right now.
Okay.
And I only know that because I desperately want to pass you in followers, and I'm going to do it.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
It's not going to happen. But yeah, you can follow me, but, it's quite nihilistic over there, so... If that's what you want, then follow me.
Well, all right then. So we should probably talk about the episode that we're supposed to be talking about, and that's not plugging your damn Twitter.
Hey, no, you brought that up, not me.
I was trying to be a nice host, but then you kept going on about your Twitter, and wow. I'm just sitting here looking at my watch, which doesn't actually exist because I don't wear a watch, but if I did, I would be looking at it instead of my naked wrist and wondering, how can she talk about her Twitter so much?
I literally used one word, nihilistic, but okay, all right, okay.
Sorry. I don't know why I'm antagonizing you so much. I don't know. I guess I'm feeling like a shifty ghost in a long coat I just want to chuck things at you. And that's just because we're talking about Gloomy Gulch right now. So we've been discussing having you on the conversation. I would say off and on for most of this year. And I think it first came up by somebody on Twitter. You were on another podcast. That was more of a daily, like, life story. Or no, it was you were talking about Donkey Kong Country 2, right? But you also, like, I don't know. But it was a podcast.
Yeah.
I listened to it. It was a while ago. But you said you were going to be on a podcast, and somebody replied on Twitter and said, is it going to be the Kongversation? And you said, I wish. So I was like, oh, well, we have to get Daley on the conversation now. So the thing was, we couldn't find the right topic for you to sit in on, because I didn't just want it to be about Playtonic. I just didn't want to interview you. So Daley, as the IT support at Playtonic, how do you go about fixing Chris Sutherland's computer? That didn't interest me. So, and I'm sure it wouldn't interest you. So I wanted to nerd out with you about Donkey Kong, and my mind drifted to where you would be best suited, and that was discussing the character history of Kiddy Kong. Now, you shot that down, and you instead suggested Swanky. So for a while there...
Yes.
Yeah. So,
yes to Swanky Kong, okay?
Yes to
Let's
Swanky.
go.
That would make a great bumper sticker. Yes to Swanky Kong. That would really confuse.
That's what he would like too. I can already see his thumbs up and his, like, sparkly grin, you know? I can see it.
Yeah. He
Look,
only has that...
No one else gives a shit about him, but I do, okay?
I give a shit about Swank. Why would you think I didn't give a shit about Swanky Kong?
No, nobody ever talks about him anymore, and I'm quite upset about it, really.
I talk about him all the time. What are you No. I will not sit here and take this abuse that I somehow don't care about Swanky Kong out of all of the Kongs. I'm the one who, if you give me a little bit of creative control over any Donkey Kong canon, I'm going to retcon that Swanky Kong is Donkey Kong's younger brother. You can't stop me. I'm going to do it.
Look, I'm not going to stop you, man. I'm not going to stop you.
Okay, well, I'm just letting it be known. If you ever try to stop me, we'll have a problem.
No, I'm not going to.
No, so I was like, okay, we'll do a Swanky Kong episode, character witness Swanky Kong with Daley Kong. But then I hit upon this idea, because honestly, there's only so much we could talk about for Swanky. It would be a good episode, but unfortunately, he's only really had 2 appearances, 3 if you count his appearances of Spirit in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and it's unfortunate. It's a shame, but Swanky Kong is a neglected Kong. So I thought, well, we could potentially talk about Swanky Kong, because he does have a studio in Gloomy Gulch, and that is a location that I greatly associate with you, Daley. So we'll talk about Gloomy Gulch as the very first in this series of episodes of the Destination Donkey Kong universe.
Yeah, sounds good. And
Okay.
I'm flattered that you've used me as the first guest. Use me as the first guest to talk about whatever it was you titled the series.
Yeah,
I've
no,
forgotten
I
already.
know you're not paying attention, and that's fine. You don't have to. You could just say yes and no, and I'll make it work in editing. I just need to get enough of your words committed to an MP3 or WAV file that I can then just manipulate however I wish, and then bam, episode. So
That's good to know. Good
Yeah.
to know.
So actually, a fond memory, an early memory I have of you is you going on and on about ghost ropes on Twitter.
Yes.
So I heavily associate you with Gloomy Gulch as a result. And as far as haunted locations in games go, I would say Gloomy Gulch is a bit more low-key than you would normally get, all things considered.
Yeah, because it doesn't kind of go out of its way to be like, you know, ooh, we're so haunted and scary and ghostly. I think the whole haunted thing just kind of, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a smart metaphor right now, but it's not coming to me. But it's more subtle, I guess, than you would see in other games.
Yeah, it has a few more ghosts than the rest of the worlds do, even though most of them have ghosts. Mm-hmm. And it's not, like, it's just not packed full of nothing but ghosts, like the Boo houses in Mario. It's more understated. It lets you appreciate the gloom a little bit more, I guess, the gloom of the forest. And I guess it's sort of like how real life haunted places, whether they're actually haunted or not. But it's how they would be, because you're not just going to be having ghosts shoot out of your asshole the second you walk in. It's going to be more
Excuse me?
an unsettling feeling of, ooh, it feels kind of creepy in here. I'm getting the hairs on my body standing up. What's going on? And then you might see something in the corner of your eye. And Gloomy Gulch isn't that subtle, but as far as video game platformers from the 90s go, I would say it's pretty damn subtle.
Absolutely. Yeah, doesn't beat you around the head with it, just kind of, yeah, like your analogy, but without the butthole. Was pretty good.
I was proud of that analogy, actually, so I'm a bit hurt that you dismiss it so easily.
Not my style.
No, okay. All right. For the uninitiated, and I don't know why the hell you would be listening to this if you're not familiar with it already, but Gloomy Gulch is the fifth world of Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Kong Quest. It's also the fourth world of Donkey Kong Land 2. They both take place after Crazy Kremland, but before K. Rool's Keep. It's set geographically around the middle of Crocodile Isle. It's on the wooded plateau just under the circle of... Well, are they K. Rool heads? Or are they like K. Rool's ancestors? Or like the heads around Crocodile Isle, the crocodile heads, near the top. What are they supposed to be?
I've always kind of just viewed them as like a standard sort of like Kremlin.
Okay, so have I. But then people jump up my asshole like a fucking boo about, oh, that's K. Rool. That's clearly K. Rool. And
really?
I'm like, but the bulging eye, it does have a bulging eye on each one, but they seem to be on the wrong eye, I think. You're looking it up right now. I can hear you type.
I am. I'm like, I want to see it again.
So I think it could plausibly go either way.
See, now I look at it and think that I see it. It kind of looks a little bit goofy, like K. Rool is.
But it doesn't look exactly like K. Rool. And I was hoping you would have an answer, because you work with people who worked on this game. You worked with artists who worked on this game, and yet you don't know.
I've never asked them, but you know what? Tomorrow I will. They love it when I go to their desks and pester them with questions about games they made over 20 years ago.
Tomorrow you're going to ask them. It doesn't really affect this episode, though, does it?
Hold on, let me just call Steve Mills right now.
Yeah, please do. Get him on speakerphone.
He would never give me his number. He's already had enough of me. I went to his desk the other day because someone had tweeted me about that Diddy pointing pose, and I went to his desk and I was like, what's Diddy pointing at? And he just looked at me like I was crazy. So
yeah, when I had him on the show 3 years ago, I would love to say, he called in. No, I would love to say we had him in our studio, but that would be a lie because we have no studio. But he actually sat in with Andy Robinson, so he was kind of in the background of Andy Robinson's calls. So I don't even have his Skype number. Steve Mills is an enigma to me.
He is. He's quite shy, really.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Well, he and his brother, they're both very shy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I've tried tickling them. I've tried to make them come. They don't respond to that either, so they're just completely impervious to any sort of coercion of the fingers. I don't know. So, yeah, anyway, they're crocodile heads. Gloomy Gulch sits right underneath it. Kremlin heads. They're, at very least we can agree, they're Kremlin heads.
Yes.
Now, we don't know a lot about the history of Gloomy Gulch. We just have what the instruction manual says. So I will read what the instruction manual says. And I'm sure you've already read what the instruction manual says. But again, I'm sure there's lots of people who are listening to this who are maybe looking for some Conquer discussion. They tuned in hoping we were going to be talking about Conquer. And they haven't gotten up to turn off the podcast yet because they're so depressed that we're not talking about Conquer, who you think smells like Cheetos or tastes like Cheetos. Or... He
definitely does. The color of his fur, there is nowhere that he does not smell like cheap cheese.
Okay. I'm just amazed Cheetos made it to the UK because I feel like that
they
should...
They did.
That
but
should...
they seem to die out. Like, there was a huge thing with them, maybe around the same time that the Spice Girls were a thing. Like, Cheetos were all over the TV. And now, actually, I haven't seen any in a shop in a long time, so maybe we killed him. I mean, them.
Yeah, no, I apologize, and I know a lot of Americans are listening to this, and they're getting mad at me, but I feel like Cheetos are one of our most unfortunate exports, and we have had quite a few.
Oh, really? It's controversial, huh?
People love Cheetos, and I hate them. They're just shriveled little orange dicks. They're not. No, if I'm gonna eat a cheesy corn puff, like, filled with fake cheese, I want the puffy kind. I don't want the kind that are little hard, fossilized nuggets of sadness. But yes.
You're digging a hole with the Cheeto crowd here, Hyle.
Yeah, I am, but, I mean, you think Conker reeks of them, so I don't even know what to say.
He definitely does. There's no way that he doesn't.
There's no way that he doesn't. Okay. You know, I wanted to have Chris Seaver on the show for quite a while now, and when I eventually get him, I will question him about this. What do you think Conker smells like? Because I feel like he would have the authoritative answer on this. Although he says
definitely.
He says Conker is like he was, I don't know, like 16 or something in Bad Fur Day. And I'm like, get out of here. Get out of here with your, that's not real canon, Chris Seaver. So I don't even know what to think anymore. Whatever.
I mean, he would be a higher authority though than Chris Seaver on Conker.
God. I ask God.
You know, I don't know about that.
Whatever. Don't question my religion.
Even God would be like, ask Chris. So
I bet he wouldn't know anything about the acorn people from Pocket Tales, and that's what I would really want to talk about. And he would just sit there, stone faced. What are you going on about? This has nothing to do with Conker. And I'm like, it does in my world, Chris Seaver.
I'll nudge him from you. I know people, so you know,
do you?
Send him your way.
That's a little. It's not even a humble brag. This is a straight up brag. Oh, I know people. I work with them every day. I do.
He was in the studio like a month ago.
Yeah.
I was staring at him and hoping he didn't notice. You
know what was in the DK Vine office the other week? A cockroach.
Wow, a real cockroach.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, I've never actually seen a real cockroach before, so that would actually be a big deal to me.
Trust me.
Legit, I'm not being sarcastic here. Like, I've never seen a cockroach in my life. Like,
well, apparently you don't live in shitty places.
How big are they? Because I can never tell when I'm looking at them on TV.
Oh, they're big. Oh, like, I would say... Yeah, I would say that they're about... This cockroach in particular was about 1/7 the size of a DK bongo.
No.
Yeah.
The thing is, I don't know how big DK bongos are because I've completely outlawed them from my apartment because I hate Donkey Konga.
But you've played Donkey Konga, right?
Like, for 2 minutes before I decided that, it wasn't worth hating life as much as I did.
Do you know how long I've played the Donkey Konga games?
Tell me.
I'm sure I could fill at least a week of my life with nothing but playing those damn bongos. And it's Donkey Konga 2 in particular, and I still haven't beaten it.
Right. I could have forgiven the transgressions of Donkey Konga if the only music in the game was DKC tracks.
Right.
There you go. Like that was my problem with it. I don't mix Britney Spears with Donkey Kong. What are you doing?
Oh, you had Britney Spears on your version.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I threw a name out there, so.
Because the PAL version had different tracks than the US version.
I mean, I imagine it did,
yeah.
Surely.
So, we got it worse, because I remember comparing the track listing, and it was like, oh yeah, no, we have the third ranked. You're looking it up right now, I can hear you.
I am, I want to know what was in the track list.
That's such a loud keyboard.
Sorry. Right, okay, I've said this on Twitter a million times before, but the reason I hate Donkey Konga is because when I was a kid, I didn't understand, I guess, like, the IP rights and shit like that, so I was waiting for a new Donkey Kong game, Donkey Kong Country, or Donkey Kong 64, which I also love, and I got Donkey Konga, and I didn't understand, and I was very angry and upset for a long time, and all my friends didn't care anyway, because they were off on their Xboxes playing Halo.
Right.
It wasn't at the time scale, but it was a very painful time for me, and those bongos can burn in hell. Anyway, I'm looking at the track list. I'm so...
You should have gone to DK Vine. You could have learned why you were getting Donkey Konga instead of Donkey Kong Country.
I didn't actually have internet access until I was about 17, and I'm 30, so like 13 years of internet for me.
Wow.
I was totally in the dark. Innocent child ruined by bongos.
You should have still known about us. I'm sure people could have printed things out, printed every page out and given it to you as a book.
Yeah, I wish. No, there is actually no Britney Spears. I just made a total assumption there. Huh.
I'm glad we sorted that out before we continue with Gloomy Gulch, because people would have...
sorry. I'm so sorry about that.
Apologize to Miss Spears, please.
No. I'm sorry to the audience for my very quick rant there. You know, just don't take offense to it. Donkey Konga is shit. Anyway, continue.
Alright, so the Donkey Kong Country 2 instruction manual. Wow! The Donkey Kong Country 2 instruction manual, that was a hell of a tangent. Can I just say, as a first-time Kongversation co-host, that is...
co-host?
Yes, you're the co-host. Like, you're not...
Oh, right.
Yeah. Is there anybody else here with me? Do you see Jeff by my side? Is Mitchell hiding in the corner?
I really love both of those guys, so, you know, you could have brought them along and I'd have been very happy about that.
No, you're my co-host. This is...
I'm not
interviewing you. So, Daley, about Impossible Lair.
Yes, buy it. Buy it today. 60 FPS.
Why was the 5th twit coin in chapter... whatever. The first chapter in the beach. Why was that so hard to find?
Actually, it's probably because Gav designed the level.
Okay.
There you go. I'm assuming that, but Gav likes to hide coins in very difficult places.
I love the twit coin placement. I really don't have a problem with it. I love anything that gets me to replay a stage because I love the hero coins of Donkey Kong Country 2, and anything that in any small way gives me that visceral thrill of having to constantly search a stage looking for where it's placed just gives me so much happiness. The only happiness I really get in life anymore. So
wow.
Thank you, Gav. Thank you for that horrendous twit coin placement. It was in the turning gear, the wheel of the fiery thing, and you had to just stay in the room for like a minute, and then it would slowly appear. It's like, oh, that's where it is, and I figured it out because I eventually was like, there's something weird about this room. Let me just linger here.
That's actually my favorite twit coin.
Oh, you know exactly what I'm talking about, then.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's my favorite. There's just something so beautiful about it.
Yeah, beautifully annoying. But that's what I like. I just said I like it. I'm a masochist. Hey, look at Hyle. Look at Hyle over here, liking to be abused. So the Donkey Kong Country 2 instruction manual about Gloomy Gulch says, and these aren't my words, so don't make fun of me. This is what was written in the DKC2 instruction manual, which... Who wrote the DKC2 instruction manual? Was it Lee Loveday or was it someone else?
It should have been Lee Loveday.
Should have been Lee Loveday. Okay, so
I'm pretty sure I interrogated him about this. I'm pretty sure it's Lee Loveday.
Because I know he didn't write the first one, but I think he wrote the second. All right, because the second one was a lot meaner in tone. The whole instruction manual was just like, wow, like the bitterness towards everybody who bought this game is just oozing through, and I loved it. It was basically my religious text for most of junior high. All right, so
wait, quick question about the DKC2 manual. Like, do you have your original copy of it, or have you got multiple copies of it, or?
I've got a copy somewhere in a box, probably in my parents' attic.
Is that like your original one?
Yes.
Because I've gone through several, I'm not going to lie.
You wear them out? I don't even want to know how you wear them out. That's...
Well, you know, like, when you're enthusiastic about something, you're enthusiastic about something. So, you know, I've had many DKC2 manuals. So, you know, I was just wondering. I imagined you would have, like, varying, like, states of manuals for some reason. Like, you are Hyle of DK Vines, so I thought you'd have, like, you know... This is the one that I read in the rain.
I do have electronic copies on my hard drive that I can pull up at the ready whenever I need to reference anything, which is what I did here. So, The manual says, "You're not out of the woods yet. In fact, you're just entering it when you get to Gloomy Gulch. This spooky area is also haunted by the evil Kremlin spirits known as Cloak and Cackle. Even the ropes that once provided a safe way to climb over obstacles are now ghostly and insubstantial." So that is the authoritative word on Gloomy Gulch, presumably from one L Loveday. We also have the Donkey Kong Country 2 Player's Guide, which is written by Nintendo Power, so far less authoritative and usually wrong in many accounts. But this is what they say. "Don't count on meeting another living soul in this dilapidated ghost town, where even the ropes fade in and out of existence like phantoms. Not even the town of Tombstone was this terrifying," which, alright, Tombstone is an old western town in Arizona here in the US, if you didn't know, Daley. I don't know how much of American western culture you've assimilated over the years.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought it was a reference to Pokemon for some reason.
Is there a town called Tombstone in Pokemon?
No, but lately I've been thinking about Lavender Town, the place where Pokemon go to die, and so, yeah.
Wait a second. Donkey Kong Country 2 came out in 1995. That predates Pokemon Red and Blue.
Look. We don't welcome logic here, or reason, so...
What do you mean we don't? This is my podcast. You don't... Just make yourself at home. Put your feet up on the coffee table. Sure. All right. What is Gloomy Gulch supposed to be? Because according to the Nintendo Power Player's Guide, which is wrong because it calls Quawks purple squawks, so fuck it. But yeah, it made me so mad as a kid because even before I knew what Quawk's name was, because I called him Squeaks, and I was like, that's not Squawks. Squawks doesn't just change his color. You can't just pretend that Squawks is some sort of Yoshi where it just applies to the entire species. Fucking Nintendo Power. No, they seem to say it's some sort of old American Western town. Like, it's a ghost town. They compare it to Tombstone. And the Gulch in the name does sort of indicate that might have been some of the thought process behind it. Because a lot of Western towns have the word Gulch in it. Because Gulch is like a deep, narrow ravine that's usually dried out. It's like attached to a riverbed that's no longer active. But I never really got that from the way Gloomy Gulch was portrayed in DKC 2. And that's mostly because it's, by and large, a haunted forest. And it seems to be a healthy forest and not just a straggly desert. So... yeah, I don't know. I think I don't think it's supposed to be a ghost town. I think it's just supposed to be spooky woods. But Gloomy Gulch, they like their alliteration. And
yeah, I was about to mention alliteration. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I think every stage in DKC 2 uses alliteration except the Flying Croc and the Lost World. But everything else is alliterative. So, yeah, Spooky Forest wouldn't really have applied. But the forest aesthetic, like K. Rool's castle aesthetic, it only appears in the stages in one world of DKC 2. Because most... I don't know if you ever noticed this. You're a DKC 2 super fan, so you probably have. The way that the backgrounds of DKC 2, the level aesthetics work, is usually they appear 3 times. And they'll usually appear twice in the world that they apply, and then they'll be remixed later on in a later world. So you had the ship deck levels that started the game, and they appeared in Gangplank Galleon, but then we would get another one in Rattle Battle and Krem Key. So, stuff like that. But in the spooky forest of Gloomy Gulch, they all appeared in Gloomy Gulch. So that's just a stupid piece of bar trivia for you. Pub trivia, I'm sorry. But yeah, I think it's the only time an aesthetic appears in a game in one world, except for K. Rool's castle as a background, because that only appears in K. Rool's Keep. But I might be wrong. Oh, the Lost World jungles, of course, also only appear in the Lost World. But yeah, it's rare. It's rare, so it's worth pointing out, because I know if I didn't point out, some asshole on social media would say, I was surprised you didn't mention this. Nah.
Yeah, honestly, I've never noticed that before, so you've taught me something new today that I didn't know.
You could have just said, I obviously knew that, being the DKC2 superfan who works for Playtonic. You didn't need to be honest there, Daley. If you lied just now, I would have completely believed you, and I would have respected it. And, it's fine. You're honest. That's who you are. Completely honest.
No, but my answer to that is actually quite sweet. I think, every time I play a DKC2 level, I kind of just... I guess, there's always a point where I kind of tune out to the background and really take it in, and I didn't really sort of, do any weird maths or obsess over it. I just appreciate them for what they are at the time, No,
I respect that. You don't want to see the Matrix code sometimes. You just want to appreciate the experience.
I'm surprised I've been able to do it, considering that, who I've worked at, because I've worked at Rare and Playtonic, I've managed to preserve that kind of, wonder, I guess, and not analyze it too much.
I was wondering about that, honestly, when I was analyzing you, because for me, to bring up God again, it would be I really love nature. I love being out in the wilderness. But if I met the person who created it, I would have just been I guess it's not so impressive after all, because I work with this person every day. This clown. If I worked with God, if I was God's coworker.
Yeah, but the thing is, everyone who I've met who worked on a game that I loved, in this case, Donkey Kong Country or Donkey Kong Country 2 or Donkey Kong 64, each and every one of them has, and I'm not just saying this, from both Rare and Playtonic, they sort of maintain this kind of love and passion for the project still. So even if I would ask, one of them who worked on it however many years ago and however many times I've talked about it, they would still answer me in a way that sort of told me that they still love that game, so the magic kind of stays. I've never met anyone who worked on any of the DKC games or Donkey Kong 64 and thought, wow, what an asshole. It's always been wow, this person's really cool, and I can see a bit of them in the game, so that's kind of helped maintain it, I guess. It's not I met one of them and they were a dickhead. No, all of them have been lovely, honestly. So it's I feel like I'm gushing, but yeah, no, it's true. I've never met anyone from those teams that has disappointed me. They've all been great. So
I wonder if you met Britney Spears, if she would be as willing to be as affectionate towards, if you had any questions about the recording of Baby One More Time, if she would be as excited to talk about it or not.
I mean, I'm not sure. Really, I don't know that much about Britney Spears, but
you knew she was in Donkey Konga, but that was a lie. That was false.
It was a guess. Actually, yeah. I'll apologize now. I'm sorry, Britney Spears, if you're listening to this. I'm sorry for. But I definitely, Britney Spears, if you are listening, I wouldn't want to play your music in a Donkey Kong rhythm game. It just doesn't belong there. I think it's not your niche. Move on.
This is going to be Britney Spears' first episode of the Kongversation. She's just going to be. I love that haunted forest in Donkey Kong Country 2. I will listen to this podcast, and she'll never listen to it again. I lost a listener, Daley.
You lost a Patreon there.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I was going to send her stickers and everything. So, what's the fucking world called? Gloomy Gulch.
Wow.
I got sidetracked. My brain can only hold so much.
Some of us have a Wikipedia page open in front of them.
Oh. Well, I hope this doesn't sound too Wikipedia-ish. It consists of 5 levels and a boss fight, which is weird to think about, because I remember playing these as a kid, the world seemed so huge and daunting. And then when you really break it down by the maths, as you would say, it's only 5 levels. It doesn't that's so small compared to what my memory builds it up as, but it's true.
It's a small baby, definitely.
Yeah. So 5 levels and a boss fight. So I thought we would go through the levels one by one, talk about what we like about them, the little bits that stick out, And we'll also talk about some ancillary stuff, as well as Gloomy Gulch throughout the years, post DKC2. I'm gonna throw some curveballs at you here.
Me?
All right. Yeah, you. Who else am I gonna do? Again, like, Cameron's not here. It's just you and me, Daley.
I love Cameron. God damn it, Cameron. Why aren't you here for me, Cameron? I fucking love that guy, though. And Mitchell and Jeff. I love all of you, honestly. Like, if I could teleport to individual people and I only had, like, however many of you there are uses, I would use them on you guys.
Oh, that's sweet. But I didn't invite anybody on this one, so I'm sorry. I'm depriving you.
I have to deal with you.
I know, and I'm the worst one. I'm the one who nobody likes. Whenever an episode goes up, they're like, oh, I love, episodes with Matt on them. Oh, I love episodes with Mitchell. Nobody ever says I love episodes with Hyle, and I never get
you're in
any...
all of them, and it goes without saying. I'm very sure.
No, it's too late. Your positive affirmation doesn't work on me anymore.
Well, you know what? It was worth a shot.
Uh-huh. So let's talk about Ghostly Grove, and let's talk about ghost ropes.
Yes, let's talk about ghost ropes. I've talked about them quite a lot, and I think about them. I think about them often because I think I'm obsessed with it. Like, I literally want a ghost rope tattoo, but I don't think it'd look very good. But I still want one. So, like, why are you laughing at me?
Just your enthusiasm for ghost ropes, because I can honestly say I've never sat in on this podcast with anyone who's had that enthusiasm for such a specific element of this game.
Okay, so, like, I'll talk about my theory about... No, wait, should I talk about why I like them? I like them because I feel like... Okay, no. There's lots of reasons that I like them.
let me explain to the uninitiated what ghost ropes are, and then you can talk about why you like them, because I feel like going cold on this sells the ghost rope short, because it's a kind of fucking bizarre concept. So, they say death is forever, but not when you come back as a ghost. But how are you a ghost if you were never alive to begin with, Daley? And that is the conundrum of the ghost rope. They are ropes with little cartoon ghost face on the head, little knotted head on the top, and they appear and they disappear in like this very alluring little like twisty like swirl, and then they disappear and they make that noise that you love so much, that little sound effect that I've seen you emulate in text form on social media. So do you want to do a ghost rope impression?
I'm not going to do the noise. I can't. I couldn't do it justice. I can't do it justice. I just can't, There might be ghost ropes listening. I don't want to upset them or offend them,
Daley Kong Johnson, if nobody can do the ghost ropes justice... If you can't do them justice, I fucked that up. If you can't do them justice, then nobody can. All right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's a no from me.
Well, I'm not going to do them. You think I'm going to sit here and do them?
Well, you know what, right? If you're listening, you don't know what a ghost rope sounds like. 1, why are you listening, you weirdo? 2, YouTube Ghostly Grove, and you'll hear it like within like a few seconds. Maybe like 20 or something.
I would say play Ghostly Grove, but it's not like DKC2 is readily available, like on sale from Nintendo right now. But it should be Nintendo. Are you listening to me? If you still have a Wii U, or if you're one of the few who bought a Wii U, you can still purchase it from the eShop, Donkey Kong Country 2. Otherwise, you're shit out of luck. You have to find a Super Nintendo, you have to find an original cartridge, or you could... get the Game Boy Advance version, but I wouldn't recommend that as much. Yeah, so just YouTube it. Damn it, Nintendo. Get your act together. This is your best game.
Maybe one day.
It's not even on the Mini, the classic.
No, it's not on the SNES Mini. Just DKC1, as you know.
I do know very well.
Unless you're a naughty egg and you get an emulator and put it on like that. But, I wouldn't recommend doing that. I wouldn't do that. That's totally illegal.
All of my friends do it. Everybody who's been on this podcasts has said, oh yeah, no, I have all 3 DKC games on my mini. And I'm just like, well, that's good for you, but I'm a law-abiding citizen. So first of all, let me report you to the police so that way I curry favor with them. So then when I do break the law, they look the other way. And also, too, this is the way Nintendo intended it for me. So I just have to accept it, even if I don't like it.
Nintended it. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I'll let you go first. What do you think the ghost ropes are? Because I find your theories fascinating on this.
Well, look, there's a difference between what I think and what I want to think. So we're just going to go with what I want to think. And what I want to think is... So I went through like this period of being obsessed with the 2-player contest skins for Diddy and Dixie.
I remember
like the
this.
Purple ones.
I remember this because you changed all of your profile icons to the purple cloth Dixie.
Yeah,
with red hair.
Yeah, I just feel like you don't see them around enough, which actually uncovered something interesting. So if you play as 2-player contest Diddy, I'm sure people know. I'm preaching to the choir here. Is that what you say? Preaching to the choir? Anyway.
That is what they say, yes.
Sorry, it's Dixie. When you do the hair twirl, there's actually a few frames where she reverts back to her original colours. Like, I discovered this while I was, like, obsessed with the 2-player contesting. And I actually took it to Steve Mills, and I was like, hey, what's going on? And he was like, you know what, I don't know, I must be a bug. So, like, I discovered, well, someone else probably discovered it before me, but, you know, this weird kind of, like, anomaly in it. But anyway, because I was obsessed with that, I started thinking maybe there's a link to between those and the ghost rope somehow. And I was like, maybe when the ghost rope exists in a you know, for red and pink Diddy and Dixie, when it doesn't exist, maybe it exists for the 2-player contest version of them, you know, the purple. This is just my theory. So it exists for one player while it doesn't for another. And that's why you see it appear and disappear, because it's trying to accommodate to those 2 mods. Like, that is... I don't know how I got there, but that's how that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. That's what I want to believe about
I think I know how you got there, Daley, and it's alcohol.
Wow.
No, that's when I do my best
like
thinking.
That.
It's when I do my best thinking.
But, like, you know, how else would you... Like, there's a simpler way to justify it, and that is just, I guess, that... Did I say simpler way to simplify? Simpler way to justify, and that's that I guess maybe the ghost ropes are shy. Maybe they don't want to be touched. Stop touching them. Or, you know, maybe when they cease to exist for you, they exist for another player in the world. You know, they got to be there to help you climb. I don't know. What? That's where I'm at. But I prefer my 2-player contest theory above the other ones that I've just discussed, definitely.
That's a very good theory because that's a lot more poetic than anything I came up with. So I've kind of wavered myself like an intangible rope on what the ghost ropes actually are. And to figure it out, I went deep diving in actual paranormal research just to find a plausible enough explanation for what they could be. Because that sort of stuff fascinates me. It always has. But I really wanted a concrete explanation on what ghost ropes are. So I actually typed this out on the DK Vine Facebook page in February of 2017. So I'm just going to read this verbatim. I said, as far as the ghost ropes go, Gloomy Gulch is already a heavily haunted area. With the sheer number of wayward spirits roaming its forest, the amount of psychokinetic energy would be theoretically high enough that landmarks or infrastructure that once appeared long ago would temporarily re-manifest themselves according to the ghost's perspective on how things should be. And you actually replied to that. This was almost 3 years ago. Yeah, you replied, "I live for this nerdy shit," and then there was a heart emoji. So
perfect. Yes. I'm dabbing right now. Just so
that was one of my first interactions with you, by the way, or first exposures to Daley was...
Yeah, honestly, like, I've been listening to you guys, I think, for about 6 or 7 years, but I was too afraid to engage with with any of you because I didn't think I was cool enough. But look at me now. I'm practically your boss.
You really are, because I get all of my propaganda marching orders from you. Oh, Hyle is a Playtonic shill. Well, who do you think gives him his marching orders? It's Daley.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's why I'm begging for money on Patreon.
The thing that's interesting about the difference between like your theory and my theory is I kind of went with like a meta sort of like as if the ghost ropes are aware that you're playing a game, whereas you went with more of a sort of like in-universe thing.
Yeah, which is the way I always have to think. I always have to think, how would this... Well, no, it's not just in-universe, but I start from the point of I refuse to accept that the Kongs and their merry adventures don't take place in my universe. So if they do take place in my universe, how can I justify this shit that doesn't make sense? And I go from there.
Yeah. So normally, like, I would as well, I would try to stick with something that doesn't acknowledge the fact that it's a game. It's just, I guess, it's where my mind kind of, like, ran away with it. Because I do like the idea, I guess, of, like, oh my god, multi-Kong theory is what I was about to say.
Multi-Kong theory.
Definitely something I've invented in my mind with the alternative skins, you know?
So wait, in your theory, would that mean that the ghost ropes are like, jumping between dimensions?
That's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So in one dimension, you have the original Diddy and Dixie, and then in the second dimension, you have the purple, and they exist to me at the same time. They're not alternating; they exist at the same time. So the ghost rope appears and disappears to accommodate that.
I love that there's another dimension where the only difference is that they have a slightly more purple shade of clothing. Yeah,
and Diddy has a purple mouth.
Yeah,
if
he
notice,
does. He does.
It's because it was a literal palette swap at that point. So yeah,
he just really likes grape candy. He just really likes sucking on mouth staining grape candy, and yeah,
it's exactly what I tell myself about it. Not that it was a palette swap; that he just really likes grapes and stuff, you know. So
right, exactly. No. Now you've got me hung up on this, thinking about how this could plausibly work, because I've always kind of discounted the 2-player contest modes as non-canon, and I realize that's kind of shitty of me, the person who goes to great lengths to justify canon in general, and just to say, well, that's too complicated, I'm not going to think about it. That's not like me. Maybe I was sick that day. Maybe I was sick the day I tried to like figure out 2-player contest. I don't know.
Maybe. But yeah, I just, like, it's not like I sat and thought, oh, okay, I'm going to, like, invent this crazy theory about the ghost ropes. It's just that was the first thing that I thought, like, as to why they would appear and disappear like that, you know? Yeah. That or shyness, which I can relate to, so it's one of the two. It's got to be.
Yeah. No, I'm very shy myself. That's why I hide behind a microphone, and I never venture outdoors. That's why my only friend is that cockroach, who I haven't seen in a week or so now.
1/7 of a Donkey Konga bongo.
Look, that's how I measure length, okay, Daley? That's just what I do. Real quick, though.
Concerning, I might have to reevaluate our friendship. So, continue.
I have to ask, because we've gone on and on about ghost ropes, and I really want to know, though, what are your thoughts on the ghost barrels from Donkey Kong Country 3?
There was a third Donkey Kong Country?
Oh, okay, I see what you're doing. I see. This is why I wanted to have you on that Kiddy Kong episode. That's...
I don't know why you're trying to antagonize. Why are you trying to antagonize me?
I'm not. Donkey Kong Country 3. Britney Spears did the soundtrack to it. Of course you remember.
Oh.
Oh no, did I take it too far? I'm sorry.
Right, okay, so... You know what? No, I'm not going to go there. I have no opinions on the ghost barrels from Donkey Kong Country 3.
You're not going to go there at all.
No, I won't, because I just don't feel like if I was to discuss anything to do with Donkey Kong Country 3, I just don't feel like I'm any sort of like, I feel like someone critiquing something that they don't know a lot about, and that's not fair. Like, it is that I don't want to know, basically. So just digging the hole. Don't worry about it. Donkey Kong Country 3 isn't for me. I'm sorry, and yeah, I'm not. I can't with it. I can't give an opinion because I feel like anything I say either won't do it justice or will sound really bad. So I'm just I'm trying to be like, PR friendly right now.
I can see that, yeah.
DKC3 PR mode, like freaking out. He mentioned DKC3. Right, okay, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I don't totally hate it. I just don't like it.
I won't sit here and I won't ask you which Brothers Bear is best, which is kind of a rite of passage.
But I have an answer for that. Hold on, wait. Let me just Google what type of Brothers Bears they are. If you
have to Google it, you don't have the answer.
Wait, no. It's gonna be painful.
You're gonna just see the Disney movie? Okay.
Look, it was exactly... Are you watching my screen? Yeah, okay, let's have a look. I did just search Brother Bear and it came up and I was like, okay, this is not what I'm looking for. Right, I'm just looking at them. Bata Bear, Bizarre Bear, Blue Bear, Blunder Bear, Blizzard Bear, Bazooka... Right, okay, I'm going to vote on one. Definitely Bachelor Bear. Holy shit, he is cool. I like that one. That's my vote.
Are you seeing the picture of him with the sunglasses and the render?
Yeah, I love that.
You know, that render's a forgery, right? We made that render.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he didn't have a render.
That's my favorite one. I literally see a render with all of them, and that is my favorite one in it. Like, he is amazing. So that's my answer. I'm not going to change on that. Like, that one.
Yeah, so Matt Corna photoshopped the sunglasses on that standard Brothers Bear naked render because he was only in the Game Boy Advance remake of Donkey Kong Country 3. He didn't appear in the original.
No, also, I like that one.
I just stumbled upon a romance novel called Bachelor Bear, and I just sent you the picture to it.
Oh dear, hold on. Alright, I don't like this picture very much, I gotta say. I much prefer the actual Bachelor Bear.
Yeah. With the counterfeit render that is our doing. Yeah.
That's quite funny that I actually chose a Brothers Bear that doesn't actually exist.
I mean, he exists. He's in the Game Boy Advance game. But, yeah.
Does he not have the sunglasses on?
He has the sunglasses, but that render is fake.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I really appreciate it. So, like, thank you guys as the creators. Well, whatever. You forged him into it. I don't know. But if I had to choose one that wasn't him, I would choose... What does that one say? Is that Baffle Bear?
Baffle Bear?
Yeah, that one with the flowers on his shirt. He looks like he looks a bit weird, so I like him.
Yeah, Baffle Bear is the one who's good at maths, Daley.
Okay, right. Never mind. No, actually, no, because he could compensate for me being bad at maths. Yeah, we'll go with him. We'll go with Baffle Bear.
He's got a calculator. That's his accessory. He just... all right. Well... Wow.
How did we get there? That was your fault. That was
my fault, because I want to talk about ghost barrels, and you didn't want to talk about ghost barrels, and I was like, well, I want to talk about something about Donkey Kong Country 3, so let's talk about Brothers Bear. What are you Googling now?
I hate Hyle Russell.
Yeah, no. Gonna get a lot of results on that one. So, I also want to bring up cloaks. While we're talking about Gloomy Gulch, we should talk about cloaks. Now, they don't just appear exclusively in Gloomy Gulch, but you think about the spooky Kremlin forest, you've got to talk about cloaks, one of the two ghost enemies in the game. What do you think about cloaks and how fucking weird they are?
Yeah, like, I guess when I'm playing, like, there's a thing, they've, like, managed to maintain a level of kind of, like, weirdness for me. Like, I don't know how to sort of, like, articulate this, but I get the same feeling with a few creatures from DKC, actually, but especially with cloaks, I get this feeling of, like, I don't know, I'm somewhere special. Like, that's the only way I can describe it is I think they're super weird, and I feel like I've made some real progress when I see one. I don't like them. I'm not a fan.
Wait, you don't like them?
No, because they usually fuck me up. God damn it. I didn't know you were going to throw a zinger at me, even though we've been through this a million times before. Shit. Yeah. Like, I don't like them in a way that I see them as a menace, you know, and, oh, god damn it. There's so many times I've been caught out by them. They just get me. Get me every time. They never help me. They're there to just hinder me. God damn it. And you know what? What are you even laughing at? What are you laughing at? What's so funny? You know?
They just take great joy in chucking things at you. I mean...
Yeah, it's very provocative. Where did you get that quote?
If you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. Or your afterlife.
It's true. It's true.
If you notice, their coats, though, resemble greatly crooks, the hook-throwing baddies. So I just assume they are the same type of Kremlin, deceased.
Yeah, they can piss off as well.
You're just not having any of the pirate Kremlins. I'm astounded.
No, don't get me wrong. I actually love them. I love Kremlings so much. Sometimes I wonder if I'm really a fan of Kremlings and not the Kongs, you know? Mm-hmm. But definitely, yeah, like, they are the two Kremlings that catch me the fuck out every time. Every time.
Yeah, I like that cloaks are Kremlings, but you never see any crocodilian features. They're just glowing red eyes and a big overcoat. And I also love that then the Ghoulies team, which were ostensibly the DKC2 team, the Grab by the Ghoulies team, then had a haunted cloak in Grab by the Ghoulies. They just couldn't get away from the concept. They're like, I love this idea of outerwear that tries to fuck you up so much that I just want to keep putting in every game we work on.
Yeah, I gotta say I haven't played much Ghoulies, but I do know that you can twat people with a swordfish.
You can, yeah.
That looks suspiciously like another swordfish.
It's the nose...
almost exactly like another swordfish, actually.
Suspiciously, yeah. The nose is a bit bent, but besides that...
Does that mean that Angard is dead?
No, because he later appeared in Donkey Kong Barrel Blast.
Okay. Right, look. There's no space for facts here, okay?
Fine. Of course, Britney Spears was in Donkey Konga, and Angard is dead. His corpse is in Grab by the Ghoulies. Everyone should go play it right now.
I've been here like 5 minutes and already ruined everything. You know, it's standard. It's like I'm at a family gathering all over again.
Oh, that's exactly what this is like, isn't it? Before we move on to Haunted Hall and you get to talk about your goddamn haunted libraries, I wanted to talk about the forest in general. The light beaming down, like the sunlight beaming down through the trees, the spooky faces on the trees, and the music. The music of the DKC2 forest composed by one Dave Wise. Do you like any of that?
Do I like any of those things? I actually really like them all. So, Forest Interlude is like my favorite track from the entire game.
Yeah.
So, like, when I first met Dave Wise, I was like,
oh, look at you name dropping.
When I first met him, when he took me for dinner.
Yeah. Okay.
This is true story though. I was like, so I was like, so Forest Interlude. Were you heartbroken when you wrote that? And he said that he was likely going through some stuff. Yes, and it's because I felt like I sensed a certain sort of like, sort of like love-related pain from that track. And he said that he was going through some shit. And, so it turns out that he managed to kind of, like, project that through the game, which I thought was really cool. And it's always a track I can go back to and kind of, like, imagine what it would be like to actually have feelings for another person, which is just beyond me. So... Because I fucking hate people.
That much is obvious in any of our interactions.
So, yeah, and likewise, I think it's some of my favorite backgrounds from the game too, because they just give up. Like, it's like what we were talking about earlier, how like it's clearly supposed to be spooky, and it is, but it's also quite subtle and gentle with it. So, I guess this was a level that when I got to it, I was like, hell yeah, I'm in the spooky zone. Like I've never said that sentence in my life. Like, okay, no, don't quote me on that one.
It's too late. That's gonna be in your tombstone.
That's gonna be hell yeah, I'm in the spooky zone. Right? Listen. Shh.
Not the Arizona town. No, that's gonna be on your grave marker. It's gonna be the quote under your name.
That's actually it'd be quite accurate though.
Well,
so I'm okay with it.
So long as you're haunting it, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna haunt my own grave. So
that would be so boring though. Haunt someplace better,
like a library.
Yeah, like a library. Hey, that's a segue. You're getting good at this. So, Haunted Hall is the second stage, and you really like haunted libraries, don't you? Mm-hmm. Like, that's a very specific combination of things to enjoy, but you enjoy them.
I do really like haunted libraries for some reason. It's because I hated them when I was a kid.
You hated haunted libraries when you were a kid?
Yeah, I did, because, like, rumors go around when you're in school, like, when you're a kid. Like, I'm talking, like, we call it primary school in the UK. I don't know what you'd call that in America. Like, below the age of 10.
Elementary school.
Elementary, so, like, especially in my elementary school, see, look, I'm catering to the American audience here. Elementary or primary
You're
school.
pandering. That's what you're doing.
No, like, I love you guys. You guys
No, you don't. You just said you hated people.
I don't really hate people. I'm a big softie. But anyway, so, like, in my primary/elementary school, loads of rumors ran around, and I'm sure that's the same for everyone. Like, the library's haunted. And I, like, really believed this, because I was, like, a naive, cute child. And so, like, I was super paranoid that the books were haunted and stuff. Didn't stop me reading, though.
The books are haunted?
Yeah.
Like, just a book?
Just books. Have you not seen a book fly before? Like, how they, like, flap their pages and fly around?
I've seen that in, like, Donkey Kong 64.
Exactly, right? But, like, I imagined that was real when I was a kid. So, like, I spent a lot of time being scared of libraries because they were really quiet, but also apparently haunted. So I'd be like, what the fuck? But then I grew to love them in the end because I associated haunted libraries with nostalgia of being terrified of things as a kid. I don't know. I'm not a therapist. But I like them now because I think it's a cool concept, and I've decided that when/if I leave the games industry, I'm going to seek out a haunted library to work in. That's the plan.
I admire that career path. Go from the games industry to working specifically in the robust and just booming haunted library career path. Now, of course, my favorite thing about haunted libraries are the roller coasters inside of them.
Oh god, yeah, don't even get me started.
So, my question is, because you had such a good at-the-ready answer for why ghost ropes exist, why is there a roller coaster in the library?
I haven't thought this through.
Okay.
But, there must be a reason for this. I'll think of something.
I've already thought of something, but I thought of something a long time ago.
The thing is, I'd never thought about it because my focus always in Haunted Hall is usually Cackle, because he's my favorite Kremling. But we'll get into that. But I don't know. In my mind, maybe it was a prototype for something that was going to go into Kremland. You know?
Yeah, because on the scenic renders of Kremland, you can actually see there's a ghost house in the background. And I always wondered if this was going to be in some way something earmarked for Kremland, and then due to various reasons, it just wound up in Gloomy Gulch as a library for some reason. I was hoping you would have the answer considering the people you work with. But you can always ask them tomorrow, and it won't really matter for this episode.
If you want me to, like I've asked them lots of things, but I could definitely ask why there's a roller coaster going through a haunted library. You know, they might have an answer for me. I might just have to make one up. Who knows?
I could always just tweet them. I could always just pester them on Twitter, but.
You should write me a list of questions that I need to ask them.
Oh, I could do that.
I will go to their desks and I will ask them.
When you unfurl the sheet, it would probably like roll out the door. It would be so long.
But they can't escape me, so it's fine.
They can't.
Yeah,
You work in a very small studio. There's no escape. They can't even lock themselves in an office. They can't get away from you.
They absolutely can't, no. So, you know, we need answers for the DK Vine community. We're going to get answers for the DK Vine community.
The top priority right now.
They know that I'm a part of it too. So sometimes, like, when I walk over to them, I can tell that they know I'm about to ask them something really weird. I love Mark Stevenson because he created Lanky Kong, and literally every time I have a conversation with him, I have to bring it up somehow.
Yeah, I believe you were on a panel the other week in London.
Yeah. I specifically said to the host of this panel, in front of Mark, I said, make sure you bring up Lanky Kong, and he did. He managed to, like, fit it into a sentence that had nothing to do with Lanky Kong. It was amazing.
Could you imagine if that was your most lasting contribution to culture, human society, would be Lanky Kong? I would feel pretty good about myself. He should feel pretty good about himself.
Lanky is very, very cute and sweet, and I don't feel like he gets enough love. And he's not dead. Fuck off. You know?
He's not dead. Fuck off, Google.
Yeah, exactly.
Why are you trying to suggest he's dead?
People say that Chunky's dead as well, and that really upsets me.
Yeah. No, the only one who's dead is Wrinkly Kong.
Yeah, she deserved it. She's gone to hell. Straight to hell!
Well, she comes back from hell every so often.
Yeah, no, she hasn't really gone to hell. Please don't take that as canon. I'm not an authority on the matter. I did tweet that, though, from the Playtonic account, that Wrinkly had gone to hell and people were taking it as canon, and I was like, oh no, what have I done?
Yeah, I'm sure Nintendo would send a cease and desist over if they cared about Wrinkly Kong, which
One of these days they
do.
will. Yeah, one of these days they'll tell me to behave. But until then, I'm going to keep misbehaving, you know? I love Nintendo. I love you, Nintendo. Please don't tell me off.
I've somehow made it 20 years without them telling me off, and that's astonishing. So,
I mean, I petitioned for the Kremling Death Noise to be in Smash from the Playtonic account, and they did nothing, so...
They did nothing, no. They just avoid eye contact whenever they can. And you would think they would pay attention to Playtonic, at least. They do, sometimes. You all made those Super Mario Maker 2 stage, and they tweeted about that. Yeah,
no, they actually do humor us, and, like, we really appreciate that as well, because most of us are just, like, massive Nintendo fans, so it's really nice when they do that. Thank you, Nintendo. Thank you, Senpai Nintendo. I love you. Thank you.
She doesn't like Donkey Kong, though.
No, I don't like Donkey Kong. I'd never do that again. Anyway.
My theory, Daley, about the roller coasters in Haunted Hall was that, you know how all these giant theme parks always try to expand? Well, maybe you don't know that. So you know how Disney World is always building new attractions and always like taking over new land. So, we need to build the Star Wars land over here. So they like bulldoze something, or I don't know how it works, but they do it. They take, this is farmland that people need for food. Well, we don't care. We want to build a Millennium Falcon right here. So they take it over. I'm getting so many people mad at me right now because I'm misrepresenting what happened. But my theory is that Kremland, they were expanding into Gloomy Gulch, and they put a roller coaster in the library, but then they ran out of funds.
That is dark, man.
Why is that dark? Why?
Because it is. That's like, I don't know, like, holy shit.
How is that any darker than saying Wrinkly Kong is in hell?
Look, I clarified that that's not even a theory for me. That's just me being...
That's a fact.
It's not a fact. Wrinkly Kong is definitely a saint, even though she taught incorrect maths to people.
Well, so here's my thing. The Kremlin, she didn't teach incorrect math. The Kremlins had no interest in learning her maths, and that would suggest to me they have no interest in libraries. Now, granted, those who are into math don't necessarily care about books. It's because it's the difference between being an English major versus a math major.
Look, Hyle, Russell, you have no idea what Kremlings do or do not care about.
I think I know a great deal. I haven't, dedicated my life to this and tried to make a career out of this or anything.
But I speak on behalf of the Kremlin people, you know. It's a touchy subject. We do care about maths. It's just, we're not very good at it.
I'm just saying, I feel like a Kremlin library wouldn't be a very well populated hotspot, so they would probably be like, yeah, go ahead, put a roller coaster in it, see if I fucking care. It's not like anybody's checking out any books anyway. And that's the explanation for why there's a roller coaster. But Cackle is, I love Cackle. Cackle is such, to me, the difference between why I'm a Donkey Kong fan over why I'm a Mario fan is, well, you've got Boo's over here and you've got Cackles over here, so what am I going to be a fan of? Fuck you. Not to say that there's anything wrong with Boo's or there's anything wrong with Mario, but Cackles are so much superior in every way. And
yeah, I can't ever say I've thought about comparing the two until you just mentioned it.
Well, I just did, and I do it all the time. Actually, I do it at least once a week. Just to random people in the street, I run up to them with pictures, and I say, which of these do you prefer? And most of them say Boo, and then I kick them in the knee and I run away.
That's, you're just doing your duty.
I am. So they need to learn.
I endorse this behavior.
They need to have negative associations with dismissing Cackle, and the only way to do that is giving them swift kicks in the kneecap.
You see, I think I've never compared the two because I feel like Boos are plentiful, whereas Cackles aren't.
Yeah.
So
Cackles have only appeared in one level in one game. They've never appeared outside the level. They didn't even appear in Donkey Kong Land 2. So Cackles are they're the precious, ghostly, crocodilian unicorns of Donkey Kong enemies, and we should treasure the time we spent with them.
What is your theory as to, what a Crackle was? Crackle, sorry?
Crackle?
Was?
Did you just say Crackle?
Look, I'm tired. But, why, what do you think they were before they became what they are?
They were Kremlings.
But, where's the legs? Where are they?
Their ghostly legs didn't materialize.
Why? And you know why? It's because they died on the roller coaster that they haunt.
See, I was gonna say, because cloaks, they don't fully materialize. They just use the coats they once wore in their life. But they don't it takes a lot of energy to manifest all the way. So the Cackles, they're just I'm not gonna bother manifesting the legs, but I'm gonna make sure my face is super spoopy, super scary. I'm gonna chase the Kongs with it. And, but yeah, sure, they could have lost them in a roller coaster accident. Lots of people do every year. Look it up. They get their legs chopped clean off.
What, really?
No, I don't know. It's happened, I'm sure, but probably not. More people probably get their legs chopped off in the shower than they do, on roller coasters. Just household accidents. Shampoo bottle falls and cleaves their legs right off.
Maybe.
She's Googling it right now. I can hear it.
No, I'm not.
The fingers don't lie. The fingers don't lie.
I definitely would not want to Google that one. Trust me.
Well, don't do a Google image search. Like, just Google the facts on the fact pages of the internet.
How many people die?
Die? I didn't say anything about dying. They just lose their legs.
Alright, okay. See, I've taken it too far already with my mind. What are
Now,
the odds of dying in a shower? Statistically speaking, here are the odds of dying with the causes drowning in a shower.
Okay.
1 in 685,000.
I don't like those odds. Those are still pretty small.
Sorry. That was a bathtub, sorry. So,
okay.
drowning in a bathtub, 1 in 685,000. Fatally slipping during a shower is 1 in 812,232.
That still sounds like it could happen to me.
It definitely could happen to you specifically.
Well, maybe that's what happened to the Cackles, too. They died in a shower, and they went to the library. They went to the library to figure out how to slip-proof their shower, not realizing they were already dead. And they're just going about their business on the roller coaster. They don't even care about Diddy and Dixie being there, but they're just looking for books on how to slip guard the shower, the bathtub.
Yeah, maybe it's not a bandana, it's a shower cap.
There you go. We've just solved an unsolvable piece of lore right here on the conversation. History has been made. You've just witnessed it. That is the voice of Playtonic confirming that in canon.
You know what? I'm just gonna go with it. We'll just go with it. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. They always say. I've been living by that mantra a lot lately, and I've been doing a lot of stuff that I shouldn't do, but it's working. So it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. People, remember that one. Just don't break the law too much. I mean, don't break it at all. Yeah, that's what I meant. Don't break the law. I'm not endorsing breaking the law. Holy shit. Abide the law. Jeez.
I just endorse kicking random strangers in a kneecap who prefer booze over cackles. So.
It's true. You did. That's way worse than what I just said. So we're okay.
Also, the eye patch that the cackle's wearing, that's the soap that got in their eye during the shower.
Yeah, it absolutely adds up to our theory. So, fight me, basically.
Fight her. Yeah, that's what she says. Also, before we move on, and we need to move on, I do want to bring up Mr. X. You know all about Mr. X, right?
Yes, I do. I do.
Yes.
I know who he is, or isn't, rather. I know who he isn't. I actually brought this up as well to poor Steve Mails and my fucking questions. The thing is, so, like, our positions in the office, like, I'm literally the opposite end of the room, so I have to walk for maybe 20 seconds before I get to Steve Mails. He's often staring at his screen, so I have to say, hey Steve Mails. And he's like, he delays, and I say, hey Steve Mails again. And this time he can't ignore me because he knows that I know that he knows. And then he'll look at me and I'll say, so tell me about Mr. X. And he will kind of sigh. He'll, like, run his hand down his face. And he'll say, how much did DK Vine pay you this time? No, but he just kind of, I think it was him and Kev I was speaking to about it, and they kind of had, I'm sorry if you're expecting any kind of closure or resolution on Mr. X, but basically, we don't know.
We don't
know. Like, he was a thing, and then he wasn't. Like, that's all I know. So, you know, that's all. There's two Mr. X. He's
No. That's okay.
That was like you were speaking right into my ears. That was weird.
So here's what I wrote on Twitter about Mr. X, and I guess I have to be the authoritative voice yet again. So he's dressed in a tattered naval uniform and adorned with two hook hands. The crumbling phantasm we know as Mr. X was an early version of what became Cackle in Donkey Kong Country 2. Despite being dropped, his render appeared in Nintendo Power and the official German guide to the game. So,
I'm gonna dispute that.
Oh, are you?
Just because I can. I don't. I don't necessarily think that's the case.
You don't?
No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I feel like he was potentially something else. And you know what information I have to go off? Absolutely fucking none, but my own judgment and reactions of Steve Mills. Steve Mills put me up to this. Yeah, he did. Blame him. Tweet Steve Mills. Tweet Steve Mills instead of me about Mr. X.
I don't want to bother him.
Yeah, me neither, but I do anyways.
Yeah, but you work with him. It's different. I don't mind bothering you. I do it literally every day on Twitter. I just bother Daley, and it's fine. So I'll just bother you about it. I'll just ask you about Mr. X tomorrow.
We'll get to the bottom of it. Don't worry about it. Well, we will. Yeah. We will solve it.
Yeah. Okay. I think he's a beta version of Cackle because he doesn't have legs. He has the big sword. I think they just changed the design and made him Cackle.
But I feel like he looks too different to Cackle.
He looks basically the same. He just has flesh and a naval uniform.
No, he fucking doesn't. What are you talking about? Hang on, wait. I need to get an image of him now to justify my own.
You have to type in Mr. X, wait. Donkey Kong, because some other Mr. X will pop up.
Don't tell me what to Google.
Oh, okay.
Wait, hang on, wait. Let's have a look at you. Where is he? Oh, okay. Yeah, he looks nothing like Cackle. He does not. There's more. Right, if anything, there's more detail to Mr. X than there is to Mr. Cackle. than there is to Cackle. So, like, I would argue that, like, they were different things. Why would they choose to go with a less detailed design over that with his?
Because Cackle is so much cooler looking.
Look, don't you talk shit about Mr. X in front of me.
No. I'm sorry. I didn't realize you stand Mr. X so hard. That's what they say.
Yeah,
right?
no,
Standing.
I think they are their own things each. I feel like there's a different purpose for him, but I can't confirm that. But I still want to dispute you, anyways.
Maybe the medals on Mr. X were like real world medals, and they had to get them removed because some like veterans group said no, we can't use those.
I mean, unlikely, but possible. No,
that's like an MBE he's wearing, right?
I don't know.
It's like a little star with a little red thing. Yeah. Pretty sure.
It would have been easier to change the design of that, though, than to change the entire character.
No, the easier thing is to make him a skeleton. Case closed.
Wow, okay. I mean, you're the boss here, so I'll just go along with that.
We should talk about the windy forest now, Gusty Glade. And I don't really have a whole lot to say about Gusty Glade because there's no weird ghost ropes or there's no skeleton instead of a naval man and there's no roller coaster in a library. It's actually the one with implausibly strong windstorms is the most normal stage in the world thus far. So my only question about Gusty Glade is, do you prefer to play it with Radley or without Radley?
Sans Radley.
Sans, okay, yeah. Radley makes it a little bit too difficult, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And I am not a fan anyways. So if I can avoid him, I will.
Oh my, the world kind of went dark there for a second. I have to sit down. I'm getting faint. You say you're not a fan of Radley?
Absolutely. There's a reason, okay? We're going to bring up Steve Mills again.
Bring him up. Let's just drag him through this. Go ahead.
I hope he doesn't listen to this. I love you, Steve.
Nobody listens to this. It's fine.
There's a reason that he's called Winky Steve on Twitter and not Rattly Steve. That's my controversial opinion right there. No, I don't like how Riley controls, I'm afraid. I preferred the consistency of Winky's jumps. I'm convinced. I'm paranoid that Ratley ate Winky, and I'm not happy about it.
No. I'm adamant that the Winky we see in the background of the Monkey Museum isn't a statue, but it is actually the real Winky.
Are you trying to upset me now?
Wait, I'm trying to upset you that Winky was not eaten by Rattly? I'm trying to make you feel better.
He's still dead, right?
No, because in the Game Boy Advance version of Donkey Kong Country 2, he's jumping around.
Yeah, I don't play weaker versions of the DKC games.
I know. I'm trying to placate you, Dave. I'm trying to make you feel better about the situation and trying to make you look at Rattly in a new light that maybe you couldn't view him before because you suspected foul play and murder.
Yeah. I still don't like him. I don't like his charged up bounce at all.
You don't have to use that very often, though.
I don't like Rattly. He sucks.
Oh my god. Oh my god. So, here's my thing. I do prefer Winky over Rattly, but I still love Rattly all the same.
No, Rattly can go away. I don't
He has. Rattly has not appeared in so long. Was he a spirit in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? Well, anyway, his name was misspelled on a sign in New Donk City in Super Mario Odyssey, but that's okay because he was also a trivia question in Grunny's Furnace Fun in Banjo-Kazooie, and they misspelled his name there too.
He's not worth properly mentioning, you know.
I had a petition, I still have it. dkvine.com/Radley. That will take you to the petition where you can petition Nintendo to fix their mistake in New Donk City.
To be fair, I would join that petition, to be fair. Yeah.
No, you just want him removed from the sign in general. You don't want them to change the incorrect spelling. You want him removed and just not acknowledged anymore. Do you know in Donkey Konga 2, there is a bridge with Rattly's image on it? That's how beloved Rattly is in universe. They honored him with a bridge, Daley.
What about Winky?
I don't like him as much.
Wait, what? You don't... Wait. You prefer Rattly to Winky?
No! I prefer Winky to Rattly. I'm saying in universe, though, Rattly is more honored than Winky is.
And that is a disgrace!
Probably because Rattly was a native of Crocodile Isle, and he rebelled and helped the Kongs, and then his island blew up, but he presumably resided on Donkey Kong Island after. He gave up a lot more than Winky ever gave up.
Look, I'm a Winky loyalist, and it's not going to change. Tell me what you want about Rattly.
I'm not asking you to change it. I'm just asking you to consider leaving a little room in your heart, in your Winky-filled heart, for that weird-looking rattlesnake with the stupid expression on his face and the conspicuous lack of rattle on his tail.
There's only one snake for me, I'm afraid.
I don't even know what that means.
It's Trouser.
Oh, okay. Trouser seems like a pretty shitty person in general.
Yeah, he is, yeah. He definitely is. He's a shitty
I almost
person.
gave some Impossible Lair spoilers, but there's a part in Impossible Lair that made me very happy because it brought Trouser some misery, and I quite enjoyed it.
He means well. He doesn't mean well at all. No, he doesn't. Yeah.
So, anyway, yeah, the wind blows, and it's a bit of a nuisance. The thing is, Gusty Glade is immediately outdone the next world with Windy Well, and I think that's what we all associate when we think of wind in Donkey Kong Country 2. And again, to bring up Impossible Lair, I feel like Windy Well was homaged, and Gusty Glade was not, so...
I think with the wind mechanics in Donkey Kong Country 2, I think there's a certain beauty to it because it kind of forces you to trust the game. Like, you have to exercise a certain level of trust to go forward, with your next kind of move, or your next like stage of progression. You literally have to be like, yes, there's going to be wind there. Yes, this is going to carry me to this area. So It's like beauty and fear at the same time, and I kind of dig that.
Yeah. It's a trust fall. That's essentially what it is. It's like a team building exercise with the game. That's probably why we love it so much, is because it broke us down and it built us back up to accept it as our protector. And it's kind of a shitty, abusive relationship we have with the game, now that I think about it. Yeah, no, I prefer Donkey Kong Country 3. Sorry. Are you still there? Did you leave? Did you abandon me?
I just needed a second to compose myself after you said that, you know.
I could talk about Ghost Barrels if you want. I mean, I could fill up 2.5 hours on Ghost Barrels if you wanted. Nobody
wants that. And if they do, they're wrong. So
I mean, I'll do it eventually because, this is
it's kind of your thing.
This is like my 300 some episode of this, so I'll get to it eventually, trust me. Parachute Panic. Now this is interesting. This is why I also thought this would be fun to talk about this world with you, because it's a beehive. How appropriate to have you on the Spooky Forest and the Beehive episode.
Yes.
So Parachute Panic is a continuation of the Zinger hives that were introduced in Crazy Kremland. This one is also the introduction of Quox the parrot, and that one of the most misunderstood and forgotten animal buddies in the canon, often called Purple Squawks by idiots. Idiots who worked for Nintendo Power. So Parachute Panic is a bit of a breather, because you go indoors, in Hive, and you get away from the spookiness. You get away from the ghost. There's nothing about this that's scary except for the giant death bee wasp hybrids that want to murder your face with their stingers. But besides that, there's nothing supernatural about it or anything like related to Gloomy Gulch. But that's what I like about Donkey Kong Country 2, how it kind of just does that with its worlds. It's like, oh yeah, well this is a volcano world, but here's a mine shaft, or we're gonna make this sunken ship really hot, and here's a seal to cool it down. Doesn't make any sense, but you're just gonna accept it because you're a stupid kid.
Wait, was that a question?
No, this was just me talking in rant form, and maybe there's a question mark somewhere in there, but not at the end. So you don't have to really acknowledge it. I do have to ask. Got two questions. What do you think about Quox? Because I've never talked to you about Quox. I've never talked to most people about Quox, if I'm honest. It's not like that's a conversation that comes up in day-to-day life. Quox, the parrot. But to you, Daley Kong, what do you think about Quox?
I think he's a gentle baby. And
Sorry.
He is. He's a gentle baby, and when I see him, I feel safe. I'm very grateful for his presence, and he's just a calming influence. I think he's super chill. He's helpful, and I have a lot of time for him, basically, and I hope that Riley stays away from him. Is my opinion on Quox.
Radley did stay away from him. Radley only appeared in 2 games with him, and then Radley checked out. And Radley retired to open up bridges, cut the ribbon with his buck teeth. But yes, Quox, who in the West we did not get an official name for until Donkey Kong Barrel Blast for the Wii. It was the Payon developed game. Apparently, Quox was called this in Japan all along, but that was never official Rare canon. It wasn't until we got a Japanese development for Donkey Kong that Quox retroactively became international canon, which I find interesting, but one of those cool little trivia bits that I obsess over. But yeah, Quox. You know what I hate, Daley, about about how some people speedrun this level is they just use Dixie's helicopter spin and they completely bypass Quawks entirely. And that makes me feel so bad for Quawks.
I didn't even know that was possible, if I'm totally honest. That's pretty amazing.
It's impressive, but it is not morally right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess not, but also, like, they're saving Quawks the trauma of falling through a hive full of zingers. So
Quawks wants to be useful. That's why Quawks volunteered for this. And then you're saying, no, that's okay, Quawks. I've got this with my hair. Makes Quawks feel like less than hair. I mean, look, if I burn down an entire city block, that's impressive. Is it the morally right thing? No, I'm the bad guy. So I'm saying anybody who bypasses Quawks is the villain in their own speed run. They shouldn't be allowed. It should be banned, like all of those fancy, complicated rules for professional Smash Brothers players. That should be a professional rule for fancy Donkey Kong Country 2 players. You have to use Quawks.
Well, and then you have the other side of the coin where you have me, and I say DKC2 speedrunners, I respect your decision to bypass Quawks and give him a bit of a break, because I'm sure he's tired. So thank you for giving good baby Quawks a break and choosing to use Dixie's hair instead. So just ignore Hyle.
You're so diplomatic. You're so diplomatic ever since you got this job for Playtonic and Rare.
I have to be.
Yeah, look at you, not alienating any sector of the fan base. You're just... You're a good politician. Daley for prime minister. Let's have it. Once Boris Johnson falls through the cracks.
Free ice cream for everyone. Always. That's my main policy.
Can the ice cream be made from almond milk?
Yes. Any kind of milk you like.
Thank you.
No, never mind. We won't go there. It's okay.
I think I know where you're going with that, but
Goodness me. Who would say such a thing?
now you okay. I have one stickling point though. Or sticking point. I don't know which one it is. You say you want to give Quawks a break, good baby Quawks, but you know there are 2 purple parrots in a stage, right?
I mean,
right.
There's like 2 separate occasions of parrotness happening.
So there's one point in a stage where you're riding Quawks down, and then you come across another purple parrot, and they're on the screen at the same time, the exact same time.
Did you just explain a DKC2 level to me?
I'm explaining it for anybody tuning in. Ice cream enthusiast who heard about your political platform and they tuned in and then they're like, I thought they were going to be talking about ice cream a little bit more. What are they talking about now? What is a Quawks? Why is this Quawks descending? And what do you mean there's a second one? What is happening?
All right. Okay. Consider me told. Please do continue.
Okay. I'm just wondering, do you stand by DK Vine's stance that there are canonically 2 purple parrots, Quawks and another one? We call him Squawk because that's another shitty name that just plays off Squawk, but you don't have to call him that. If Nintendo comes along tomorrow and says, yes, there are 2 of these parrots, the other name is, this is, I don't know, Susan. This is Susan the parrot. I would be like, fine. Susan, but you do acknowledge there are 2, right?
No. I don't acknowledge that. In my mind, there's only one Squitter. There's only one Rambi. No. Yeah, only one on guard.
Yes.
You see 2 on guards on the screen at the same time.
One's a hologram.
Look, you're a fucking hologram.
Trust me, life would be so much simpler if that were true. Oh, how I wish.
Okay, well, maybe the second Quawks is a fucking hologram.
But there's no animal buddy crate, no magical animal buddy crate to generate any tomfoolery like that. So they just exist in the physical space, Daley.
I still disagree with you.
Oh, that's it. Get off my podcast. You're not welcome here anymore. I'm gonna get a ringer in here. Maybe Lee Loveday will fill in for the rest of this.
I mean, he would definitely be more entertaining than me.
Oh, shut up.
He is charming and lovely.
Yeah, and he's also a recluse, and he doesn't want to ever appear on camera or in front of a microphone. So, it would just be me reading. I would just be like, so, Lee, what do you think about this? And then he would type out a response, and then I would have to read it. That would be exhausting. I would get no breaks during that.
Did you cry when you met him?
I didn't cry. Did he tell you I cried? Wait, no. I did not cry. Who told you I cried?
He did.
No, I didn't.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
I was also super drunk when I met him, too. So any crying I did was just probably piss. I was probably pissing myself, and it got all mixed up across my body, as it does.
I mean, I freaked out when I met him too, so don't worry about it.
I was drunk, and also I was surprised that he even showed up, because we were in a pub, and he just walked in, and I was just like, oh, I know who that is. You know, I had only seen one photograph of him. He's like Sasquatch. I only saw like one picture of him, and it was in the background of a forest, and he was looking surprised. But I was like, I knew exactly who it was the second he walked in, because he looked like a Lee Loveday. I was like,
he's
oh.
amazing. He is.
Yeah.
He is a total anomaly. The first time I met him, I didn't realize who he was. And so this was in my job interview for Rare. And we were just doing the job interview stuff, you know, and I mentioned DKC too, and he was like, oh, hey, I worked on that. And then I kind of realized who he was. And I was like, holy shit! I didn't hold back. I was full on like, holy fuck! And they still hired me somehow, so...
Well, flattery goes far.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't mean to. I was just genuinely like, holy shit, it's Lee Loveday. But that's what it was like every day working at Rare, you know? Even though, like, we got to know each other, I was still like, holy shit, it's Lee Loveday.
Hold on. DM Cumbo is messaging me right now.
He's messaging me as well. What does he want? What does he want from
What?
us?
Wait, why am I roped into this?
What's he said?
He says a decision needs to be made tonight.
Oh my goodness. I see what it is.
You need some inside looks here. So, Webb Woods back out into the spooky forest, and now with a healthy sheen of fog or mist over it, which I never really thought about how they created this effect, but it's a nice one.
I don't know where to go with it. See, what I really like about fog is that at any point, like, fog can form into a shape. So, like, fog could form into a shape of, say, for example, a frog, and then you're like, is that a ghost frog? Or is it just fog in the shape of a frog, you know?
Are you thinking about clouds? I know clouds are essentially fog, but on the ground.
Clouds are just ground fog. I mean, what?
Yeah,
wait.
I'm not disputing that, but it's just very rarely does ground clouds, ground fog,
become a ground fog frog.
It's nice and brown. It's a nice and brown like fog, which I granted usually isn't fog. When you have brown smog, it's, you know, it's coming from factories and pollution and cars and general misery in an urban environment. But here it's lovely. It's just nice. You want to breathe it in. You want to soak it into your pores. Roll around naked in it. And Webb Woods is also Squitter's, I would say, his biggest moment in the game, like Squitter's shining moment, because it's a stage named after him. the web in the web woods is what?
I don't know. I feel like the first time you meet Squitter is his moment.
The first time you meet him is in Crocodile Cauldron. I mean, that's a pretty good moment, but here you get to just essentially have the second half of the stage as Squitter. And
yeah, but at that point, right? Look, just hear me out. At that point, you're like, you've already met Squitter before, but then there's that moment where you're inside, like, a volcano, and everything's on fire, and loads of shit's going on, and, like, you know what? You've been through some stuff to get here, and you're like, holy shit, everything's on fire. I'm in a volcano, there's lava, and this music is really banging. And all of a sudden, you meet this tarantula, who has the coolest, like, sneakers you've ever seen. Like,
I'm not disputing that.
You're not going to forget the first moment that you meet Squitter the Spider, who is arguably the best video game character to ever grace the earth. And I'll fight anyone who disagrees with me. Personally, 1v1. Like, if you Google Playtonic's office, you'll probably find the address. If you want to come there and fight me because you disagree with my opinions about Squitter, I'll be more than willing to meet you outside in the car park and we can have a fist fight about it. Anyway,
this sounds incredibly dangerous, and I don't actually recommend anybody do this.
But that's how strongly
for your
I
sake
feel
and
about
for their
him.
own.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, I feel pretty strongly about Squitter too. I'm not just gonna go out and say, "Hey." Of course, granted, I'm in America, so they'll just shoot me. They'll just shoot me dead. Not with webs either. It's not gonna be charming. I'm just gonna die. Die over a Squitter fight, which there are worse reasons to die. Like, I would die for Squitter. I'll say that right now. I would die for Squitter because he is probably one. Look, he's one of the best video game characters of all time. He's a fucking spider with shoes. How could you not die for that? If you're gonna die for anything, it should be for something cool like that.
Do you think him and Espresso go shopping together for shoes?
No, I don't think they're that. I don't think they're that friendly.
I've had this headcanon since I was a child. You know. No?
See, I never thought they went shopping for their shoes. I always thought that the Kongs put the shoes on them.
Do you not like Espresso?
The Espresso's fine. The thing is, Squitter is wearing shoes. Listen to me, Daley. Listen to me. Squitter is wearing shoes that have the DK logo on them. So I always just assumed that Diddy or Dixie slid those on his 8 feet or 8 legs. And they're like, yeah, now you've got shoes. And they just tricked out the spider, essentially, that they wanted to ride. And they befriended. Because I always took... I think in the instruction manual or the player's guide, somewhere along the way, it says Radley lives on Crocodile Isle. He's a Crocodile Isle native. So I always took Squitter and Glimmer and Clapper to be Crocodile Isle natives as well, who would later move to Donkey Kong Island when you blew up their home. So, I don't know. I think Squitter and Espresso, they're associates, but I don't think they're friendly.
See, I disagree with
everything I just said.
Basically, yeah. I don't.
Yeah.
Look, Squitter is cool, man, and
I'm not disputing that. Where in any of that diatribe that just vomited out of my mouth did I say?
What kind of cool tarantula lets monkeys put fucking sneakers on his feet? Squitter went out and bought those with his hard-earned cash. And he put them on himself. Monkeys didn't do it for him. And he's very proud of them. And I think he would be very offended if he heard you say that, you know? How dare
No, Squitter and I are tight. Squitter knows I'm in a club.
Are you though? Have you seen the Squitter model that exists on the internet? Squitter. I'm pretty sure we've discussed it, actually. I think I'm going to find it now.
I'm pretty sure I shared it on DK Vine in the past.
Maybe that's how I found it. Squitter.
Yeah. Watch what you say.
You made me what I am. Wait, hang on, wait, I'll find it. No, that's Donkey Long. We definitely do not want to search that for that.
Wait, why does that pop up in your search history?
No, I typed Donkey Long.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you definitely don't want to.
Squitter. But yeah, sorry, anyway, I totally derailed. I'm very sorry about that. Oh yeah, it's because I disagreed. That's like Squitter's moment. It's not. Squitter's moment is when you first meet him and you're like, holy shit, look at this cool dude.
Well, okay, well, fuck Webwoods then. Why are we even talking about it?
Yeah, why are we even talking about it?
So I noticed in Ukulele and the Impossible Layer, though, that there's a chapter called Wild Webwoods. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. It is what it is. Fight me. Basically.
I don't want to fight you. You say fight me like that's something that I'm eager to do. Like I'm so angry at you that I'm just ready for a fist fight. And I just want to know that was intentional, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I needed.
It's not personal, Hyle. I'm renowned for saying that at work. Fight me.
Oh, I know. It's your catchphrase. Like you walk into a room and you say it and the studio audience cheers wildly. I've heard it, but I don't want to fight you. I'm not going to do it.
So do you want to know another fact, actually, about Wild Webwoods?
Okay, sure. Let's talk about a completely different game now.
No, it's actually related to this. So, originally the level was actually called, like, Decay Country. So, like, decay is in tooth decay country.
Oh.
Yeah. So it is an absolute nod to Donkey Kong Country, but we went with Wild Webwoods instead because decay, as in like tooth decay or like anything decaying, didn't end up fitting with the aesthetic of the level. Whereas it did at first, but it kind of like evolved into what it is now. If you played the game, you should buy it, by the way. 60 FPS on Switch and every other platform. Anyway.
Well, there you go. That's sort of right there.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Docked and undocked. Anyway.
So, Webwoods is also pretty infamously difficult for novices. Like, it's a harder stage until you realize you could just ride the bottom or top of the screen and evade most of the enemies in the portion with Squitter. You just make the webs and they won't get you. But you don't have to do that. It's plenty easy once you get the hang of it, just going straight down the middle. But I'm just saying, if you're new to the game and you just can't get past Webwoods, there you go. That's a pro tip.
It is
right
a really
there.
tricky level, to be fair, and I feel like the checkpoints are quite unforgiving too, if I'm honest.
They are, yeah.
So, like, I could totally understand someone trying to play through that level as, like, a novice to the series or whatever, and just getting tired of it and quitting out. Like, it's one of those levels where it's just like, hey, just give me a break, you know? But it doesn't. It's quite a relentless level. And for that reason, it's probably one of my, like... I don't want to say dislike levels, but it's one of those levels where I'm kind of like, I'm not super hot on it for that reason.
Even though it's a Squitter showcase?
Yeah.
And I thought you liked Squitter, but apparently...
I love Squitter. Fuck you.
But yeah, you just said, I like Squitter if the circumstances are right.
Yes. No. God damn it. Oh, well.
All right, well, the hero coin in Webwoods. Can I just say that the hero coin in Webwoods sucks? Like, I'm all about creative coin placement and having to go off the beaten path, but they put the hero coin on the end of level target. So after going through the entirety of the stage, the very difficult stage, and you get to the end, you basically, if you screw it up, you have to replay the entire thing. You can't even start and select out of it because you've completed the stage, and you have to start from the beginning to get that damn hero coin.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah. You prefer so they're called hero coins in this game, but the nomenclature that's really taken hold is DK coin. Yeah. Do you prefer hero coin or DK coin?
Definitely DK coin. That's always.
Fuck. No.
Whoa!
No.
You need to calm yourself down, young man.
No.
I've always called them DK coins.
Cranky's video game hero coins, or hero coins for short.
Well, you know what? I don't give a shit about Cranky's opinion, nor yours. So, no, I do really care about Cranky's opinion. Oh my god. But yeah, no, I've always called them DK.
You just left me out in the cold there.
I
That's
did,
fine.
yeah, that was definitely deliberate. But no, seriously.
No, I could tell. I
I
could
just,
tell the seething contempt you have for me.
Seething
And Webb Woods and
contempt.
Squitter. And really everything. You're just a complete and total fraud, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I've never actually played DKC2.
It's amazing what Wikipedia can do for you, though. You're just reading off all this information.
I've got like a cursor that looks like a fiery head. So that's what's going on.
Well, let's see what Wikipedia says about Creepy Crow, the boss fight.
Oh, don't even.
What?
I feel like I specifically asked you not to mention Creepy Crow to me because I have very strong feelings.
Okay, well,
About them,
that I invited you to be on an episode about Gloomy Gulch, and you're like,
Yeah.
well, don't talk about 1/6 of the world, please. Well, I'm going to talk about Creepy Crow, or Crow, as it says on his birth certificate, and you can join in if you want to.
You think
You
it
don't
says?
have to.
Hang on, wait. You think it says Creepy Crow on his birth certificate?
No,
So he
I'm
was
saying it
born
says
a Creepy
Crow.
Crow? Yeah.
No.
See, I nearly got
I
you
did not
there.
say that.
I nearly got you, Hyle. So.
You are twisting what I said. I said it says Crow on his birth certificate. It doesn't say Creepy Crow. Creepy Crow is not a
I
thing.
nearly got you. Nearly.
You did not.
I did.
Oh, whatever helps you sleep tonight. I don't. Crow, or Creepy Crow, as he's referred to as a nickname.
When he's dead.
Well, okay, so you remember Crow from the first world, from Gangplank Galleon. Hey kids, do you remember Crow? Do you remember when you hit that silly old bird with an egg and he fell over? No, remember that? Well, you killed him. You killed him and you have blood on your hands, children. That's what this teaches you. Your actions have consequences.
The fastest spinning eggs, when you fight Crow, the ones you want to jump on. The ones that kind of... Yeah. Just, anyway, carry on.
Yeah, he's dead. And this was, I
And
think,
he
one of the...
deserved it. Yeah.
Okay, well, it's very rare that there's a reference to protagonist of child-friendly platformers doing in the baddies of the game they're in. Like, usually you can just say, oh, you just knocked them out. You just knocked out that silly old baddie. Oh, taking a little nap. Little nappy poo. Oh, night. But no, you killed Crow. You killed him. Here's his ghost. Boo. Although, I have to point out, I'm going to put you on a spot right now, Daley.
Me? Holy shit. All right, okay, go on. I'm ready. I'm ready for you. Go
You
on.
are the most bloodthirsty out of all of Rare and Playtonic employees because you put blood on Yuka and Laylee's hands in Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. You specifically. So I'm going to quote some tonic descriptions.
Oh no. I know which one you're going to bring up. I'm
going to bring up two. This is the tonic description of Quillsplosion and Flower Hour. So this is Quillsplosion.
Yeah.
Enemies die in an explosion of quills.
Mm-hmm.
The same old murder, but more rewarding. And then we've
Yeah.
got Flower Hour. Enemies leave a smattering of flowers behind when they die, just to lighten the mood. So...
Yeah.
I always just assumed that Yuka and Laylee, when they were fighting the baddies, mostly corplets in the original game, all sorts of names in the new one, but I just assumed they were like knocking them out and sending them to the infirmary. Yeah, they disappear, but maybe like they teleport away. No, they're dead. They're dead, and that's made canon by you.
Yeah. It's actually funny because when I wrote those, I think it's how Q-Elliot came to me and he was like, "Hey," and I was like, "Hey," and he's like, "So do you not think that this is a little bit violent?" And I was like, hey, fuck it. Just put it in. No one's gonna mind. No one's gonna mind that I referenced murder. So yeah, it somehow got into the game, and that's canon now.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Well,
and
let's face it. Look. When you're jumping on that, they're called minions, by the way. Minions in Ukulele Impossible Lair. When you're jumping on their head, you don't give a shit if they're going to be knocked out or killed. You're a murderer. You're a murderer, and you want flowers left behind. That's what you are. That's what the tonic tells you. Deal with it. Fight me. That's basically all it is. Yeah. Murder is canon.
wow. So I would say they're not quite as morally compromised as Conker is of the Cheeto fame, because Conker straight up murders innocents throughout his bad fur day. But this is pretty close. They're just like it's not like the minions or the corplets or all of Capital B's forces. They asked for this life. They were genetically created in a lab, most of them, right? Like that was the lore of the original game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I'm right there. I remember things. So it's not like they asked for this life, but Ukulele are still straight up murdering them. Like
Ukulele are defending themselves. Have you seen the ones with really big teeth? They are beyond help, okay?
Oh, wow. So it's all about appearance for you. I see.
No,
how
I
it
mean,
is.
look, they literally run towards you, like, wanting to take a bite out of your chameleon flesh. Like, you have one choice. You can avoid that, or you can kill them.
Spoken like a true American. Wow, okay.
Oh, whoops, I made murder canon in the Ukulele universe.
You did. But Crow was the earliest. I'm gonna call it Daley the enemies of a platformer game, and I don't know. You seem to have a problem with the Ghost Crow fight, and
It pisses me off.
why does it piss you off so much? Because it is a multi-tiered fight. It is probably one of the more complex ones seen in the series up to that point.
So, I have a few problems with the fight. One is, I already killed you. Why have you come back? What are you doing?
It's a ghost!
I don't
He's a
care.
ghost!
Like, you know what? Haunt someone who fucking cares about stupid vultures wearing pirate hats. Two, like, I've done the fight, numerous times, but, like, I feel like parts of it are a little bit unfair. Not necessarily on me, but, like, I've watched people who aren't, like, Donkey Kong fanatics play that fight, and I'm just like, come on. Like, the bits where you have to climb the ropes and avoid cannon fire is just, like, I feel like unless you know exactly how to move when climbing those ropes, like, you're gonna take a hit, and that fucking sucks. And you know what?
You have to be quick enough.
I've already killed that crow before. Why is he backing? We're saying he, but we were talking about the eggs earlier, and I'm not cool with calling it a he. It's probably a she. She's probably a she. Where have we got the he from?
All of the canon material states he.
Right, okay, so then he's using his wife's eggs to attack you with. What an asshole. What an asshole Crow is.
Maybe his wife is cool with it.
Maybe she is, and she's an asshole too then. But, yeah, I don't know. There's just something about this fight that I don't like compared to the rest of the fights in the game, you know? Especially when it comes to it, like, I judge my kind of, like, disdain or love for Donkey Kong Country these days based on how I watch others play it. So if I see someone, like, struggling needlessly on something, I'm like, you know what, hey, that actually sucks a little bit and is a little bit unfair. But, yeah, Crow can fight me, basically. Again.
Well, good, because that's what you do.
That's exactly what you do.
Yeah.
But, and I feel like so when you have Neckies, like, mini Neckies, sorry, diving at you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it wasn't for you, it's for the listeners. When they're like diving at you, and then you have to figure out that it's the ghost Neckie that you have to kill, right? Like, it's cool, but also I feel like these days, if someone was playing like this game for the first time, they wouldn't figure that out. And that's not necessarily mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that my critique of that is fair or valid, but it's just something that I kind of have latched onto. I think I just hate Crow. If I'm totally honest, I think I just hate Crow. I just hate Crow. Fuck off. Basically,
it's a good thing he's dead. It's a good thing he's dead.
Yeah, but like we have to kill him dead a second time as well. At least he has good taste in hats. You know? I feel like I'm being unnecessarily aggressive about Crow here. I'm very sorry about that.
You already killed him once, and you killed all of those minions too. God, you just...
The thing about Neckies as well is, I think it's like last year or something I tweeted that I realised that the Neckies were wearing bandanas. Because for the longest time, playing through DKC, I thought, you know, where the bandanas are, I thought that was like exposed brain. I thought it was like a bird brain pun.
What?
Yeah, I did.
I'm gonna have to look up the Sprite now. I've never seen this.
Mini Neckies. They're wearing like a bandana, and when you see the Sprite in game, to me it was kind of like not totally clear. So I thought that was exposed brains, and it was like a bird brain thing. And then I looked at a render online, and I was like, holy shit, I was wrong the entire time.
That is such a weird misconception.
Yeah.
I'm not making fun of you, but that is so bizarre that's what you would jump to.
Plausible though, right? Like, if you look at
Is it?
I mean, I fucking hope so.
If I see somebody wearing a hat, the first thing I'm going to assume is they're wearing a hat. I'm not going to assume, wow, that person has a strange looking brain that's exposed.
But it doesn't look like, at a glance, I don't necessarily equate it with being a bandana. It just looks like exposed head. It does.
I mean, granted, there are spooky ghosts in coats and skull-faced roller coaster demons, so
exactly.
There could be... it's still pretty weird, though. Like, are these the Neckies you jumped on in the first game and you knocked their skulls half off?
You mean, yeah?
Yeah, but then they would get all of that dirt in their brains. They wouldn't last very long like that.
There's no logic in the Donkey Kong Country universe.
There's nothing but logic.
Wow.
Look,
don't you fucking lie to me. I'm so sorry about how much I'm swearing, by the way. Not to you, but to the people who are listening. It's a part of my culture, you see. I'm from Northern England, and all we know is how to swear. When we're born, we're punched in the face by a nurse, and that's how we taught to deal with things.
No, there are a lot of clergymen who are listening to this right now who are just completely taken aback. They just wanted to hear about Squitter because they think he's cool too. Do you have nothing positive to say about Crow or Crow's ghost?
Well, hang on a minute. I was totally on a hate spree there. Let me just...
Yeah, that was a spree of hatred.
The thing is, when I hate something, at least I hate it passionately. I feel like the design of the character is good. Kind of. Fucking hell, I really do hate Creepy Crow. I hate him. Alright, okay, I'll give him this. I like that he came back for more. I like that he was like, you know what, in my death, I'm gonna come back and try and fuck with these monkeys again. I like that. That's petty. I like petty. So I'll give Creepy Crow that. The fight feels satisfying when you beat it. At least it does for me. Like when I get to the top and I kick his stupid ghost crow ass. I feel satisfied that I've done so. Yeah. So there's that. I like his hat. I like his belt. I got a similar one myself. I like what he's done with his nails. And that's about as far as it goes in terms of positive things that I can say about Creepy Crow.
I'll add one more. I like that the fight takes place on a piece of K. Rool's ship. Like, apparently he wrecked one of his galleons so badly that the crow's nest wound up halfway up the island. Yeah. How did that happen? I don't know. But I like it. It's a nice bit. Also, when you beat Crow's ghost, he, like, disappears in this sparkle. It's like this poof of sparkliness, which I like. I like that you're just, like, forcing him back onto the other side. Like, okay, to hell with you, creepy crow. Not what it says in your birth certificate.
Since we're talking about things I hate, can I,
Do you hate me? Is that where this is going?
No, I mean, like, sometimes you annoy me, and I take it out on you on Twitter. But, like,
yeah, no, it's mostly hate speech directed towards me these days. I've noticed.
From the Playtonic account, I like to be powerful.
You really do, and that's okay, because I have a lawyer, have been in touch. We'll see how far your free speech carries you.
We will see how far indeed. But the real person. Well, no, it's not even a person. The real character, my most hated character in Donkey Kong Country 2. I'm gonna give you a guess. You get one guess. Who do I hate most in Donkey Kong Country 2?
Radley.
Right. Okay. No. It's look. Right. I don't hate. Did I say I hate Radley earlier? Okay. So if I said
you implied it strongly.
I don't hate Riley. But I do hate that fucking... I think it's Screech the parrot, okay?
Screech?
I fucking... Like, if I could throttle a video game character in real life, it would be Screech. Yeah, I hate Screech.
Screech? K. Rool's parrot? K. Rool's animal buddy?
Yeah, I like passionate... It's like a passionate, deep hatred. Like, if there's ever a documentary made about me in future, there'll be an entire segment based in, like, details about how much I hate Screech and why, and how he like inspired me to murder someone. Like, I fucking hate Screech. That Screech's sprint is the worst level in the game, and I hate it passionately. I wish it wasn't in the game.
Doesn't mean you have to hate Screech,
I do
though.
hate Screech. Everything he stands for.
I really want Screech to come back in another game. I quite enjoy Screech.
He's a cheater.
Yeah, he's a cheater. So is half the characters in these games. They're all filthy.
But I just
liars.
I just look at him and I feel angry because, like, I hate that level.
I like how on the box art, Screech is beating Squawks with a baseball bat.
More reason to hate him. Squawks is a good baby.
Squawks is a good baby, but I just like that level of viciousness. It's just it's an admirable trait in your bad guy parrots. Like, you're not supposed to say, Screech. Screech is a stand-up fella. I really think he would like help out like the poor and disenfranchised. I really think he would help old ladies across the street. No, you're supposed to say Screech is the type of person who will beat my parrot friend with a baseball bat. And he does that well. So bravo, Screech. That's just my opinion.
For the record, if you're listening, Screech, I don't like you.
I'm sure Screech is listening. I'm sure Screech listens to every episode just waiting for references to him. And he's like, finally. I mean, they're talking about Gloomy Gulch. They're probably not going to bring me up, but at least it's pretty close to where I was in the game. I'm going to just sit and listen to all 3 hours, and I'm just going to hope. I'm just going to hope that they mention me. And he heard that, and now he's just in a funk. He's just, there's no escape. He's going to, he's probably going to drink himself silly tonight. He's not gonna show up for work tomorrow. Gonna worry his coworkers.
It's relatable. Yeah. Totally relatable.
No. Well, speaking about being brought down, let's also point out real quick that the Monkey Museum is in Gloomy Gulch, as is Kong College, Swanky's Bonus Bonanza, Clubba's Kiosk, and Funky's Flights 2. They're all there. So this would be a good opportunity, I feel, since you're here, and we're talking about DKC2, to talk about a couple of these locations. So the Monkey Museum and all the cranky dialogue in the Monkey Museum really was Cranky at his absolute most assholishness, wasn't it? Like, I compared Cranky dialogue between games, and it was DKC2 where he was really just a bastard, right?
Absolutely. The thing about Cranky is, I feel like, so this is a thing I try to do myself, I'll admit, is like, I feel like there's a certain level of kind of like sass and aggression that you can have with your audience, but still keep it funny and like relative to the subject, you know? And I feel like finding that exact balance where it still makes people laugh, it still gives you a bit of information, and you still feel like someone's been a little bit rude to you is actually quite a fucking like rare foot pun. Yes, capitalize the R. Just fucking capitalize. I don't care, but like, do you know what I mean? I feel like that's a really like a magical balance to find, and I feel like Cranky Kong kind of like embodies that entire thing, and that's the thing I aspire to it myself, like all the time. I'm always trying to find like, what would I call it, like the essence of Cranky Kong. However you want to take that, just run with it, you know, just run with it. But yeah, no. Yeah,
I feel like you could pair him after this game, and he's just so toned down. Even in DKC 3, he just he lost a step. Here, he's just. I think I tweeted this the other month. There's a line of dialogue where he talks about his old ugly wife, and I was like, "Damn, Cranky, damn." That was his eulogy. It's beautiful.
I'm sure I read a theory somewhere that like, how do I describe this? It might have been from you guys, but I read a DKC theory that like Wrinkly Kong was trying to like gear herself up to fight Cranky, and that Cranky murdered her. So,
yeah, that sounds like something we would say.
There was one time that Lee Loveday told me as a joke that it was a joke. Don't take this as canon. But I was asking about how Wrinkly Kong died. I was asking Lee, and he said that it's not true. It was a joke. He said that Cranky got hold of one of the carts from Mario Kart and ran her over, and that's how she died.
Oh, okay. That makes sense, yeah. Totally plausible.
But I was like, hey, is that canon? And he just wouldn't answer me. But it's not canon. Don't take it as canon, please.
No, please don't. Please don't. I don't, yeah. Absolutely. We don't need to get Nintendo after us, do we now?
I have read theories that Cranky Kong murdered Wrinkly. Like, that's not the first one.
Because the husband is always the first suspect, right? Swanky's Bonus Bonanza. I figure you want to talk about Swanky, so let's talk about Swanky.
I love Swanky Kong.
I know you do. And Swanky's Bonus Bonanza in Gloomy Gulch had the distinction of this is some trivia for you to take to the trivia night.
But like, okay.
One of his questions was, what is the name of the trendy surfing Kong who operates his barrel flights? And multiple choice, as all of Swanky's questions were in the game. A, Cranky. B, Chunky. C, Funky. So obviously the answer is Funky, but I don't know if it jumped out to you. The reference to a Chunky Kong.
Yeah.
Which was played off as just a joke. Isn't that a shitty name for a character in this game? 4 years later, a game called Donkey Kong 64 would come out with a Chunky Kong as one of the 5 main characters. And so I always hold this up as the sterling continuity of the Donkey Kong series. Well, look at that. They mentioned Chunky 4 years before his debut. The master plan, clearly. It was all plotted ahead of time. So I always wondered if they used the name Chunky, if it was inspired by that, or if it's just a total coincidence, if it was just a name bandied about in the halls of Rare for a while, and they just used it in DK64.
I haven't actually spoken to anyone about that, but all I have is theories. And the thing is, like, in this case, I would say my theories are based on what I've worked in the games industry for nearly 6 years now, so I kind of know how long dev cycles are and stuff like that. But then again, I don't have knowledge of how they worked, like, all the way back then. But, like, if you were to ask me now, like, do I think that was a reference to a Kong that maybe already existed in like, the developers' minds and plans, you know? I would say yes. Like, I reckon so. Like, it was either that, like, either he already existed as a concept, or they deliberately went back and referenced something to give a name to something new. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely, it's I would absolutely say it's definitely not a coincidence, but I'm sure everyone's already figured that one out. But, did you say there's a 4-year gap between the two? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Like, that's not really
not in development, but in release.
That's really not that long at all in dev terms, I don't think. Well, now it isn't, but maybe then it was.
Now it isn't. Yeah. Back then, when they were cranking out a DKC game per year, and granted, most of the DK64 team weren't the DKC2 team.
Yeah.
During crunch time, they brought in people from other teams to help get it over the line so it'd be available for the holidays, but yeah, Chunky would have already been well established by that point. So
yeah, no, that's really cool. Actually, you know, I'd forgotten about that, to be honest.
Well, now you'll never forget it again.
And I love Chunky. I think so if we exclude Donkey Kong from this, if I could hug one Kong, it would be Chunky.
I think he needs the hug the most.
He does. But if Donkey Kong was included in that lineup, I'd choose Donkey Kong every time. But I think Chunky's a good baby as well. So he is. He's a good baby.
He is. I don't have any qualms towards Chunky Kong.
No.
I'm not like you and Radley or Crow.
Look,
or
it's just those two, okay, that I have a problem with. I even like Candy Kong, so not many people like Candy Kong.
I don't have any issues with Candy Kong, really. Yeah.
I think I spoke to Steve Mills because I know him. Have I mentioned? No,
that's the first time this has come up. This is interesting. Say more about your relationship with Steve Mills.
More about my relationship with Steve Mills. But I think I tweeted something like it was a few months ago now. I tweeted something like, I'd love to see a modern iteration of Candy Kong. You know, like, and like, I'd love to see how someone would design her, like, now. And in my head, she would be like this, like, cool, punky, kind of punky Kong, I guess. Hey, someone make a punky Kong. Anyway, and when I tweeted that, someone actually replied to my tweet and said how I actually designed Candy Kong as a punk. Like, and they tweeted me the image of it, and it was fucking amazing. And so I showed it to Steve Mills, and he was like, he kind of laughed a little bit, and he's like, do you know how hard it was to design a female Kong at the time? Yeah, but yeah, apparently it was really difficult to, like, kind of, you know, make a female adult Kong that looked, I would guess, like, presentable. So that's, like, kind of how Candy Kong came to be. But yeah, no, I have a fondness for Candy Kong because I think she's weird, and I like that.
Yeah, no, she definitely is weird, she's
pretty weird. But she's helpful. Yeah, I think she's cool, especially in DK64. She gets a little bit more cool in DK64. So she does,
yeah. In the Game Boy Advance version of Donkey Kong Country 2, she's actually Swanky's assistant.
Say that. Hang on, wait. Repeat that to me.
Yes, in the Game Boy Advance version of Donkey Kong Country 2, she is Swanky's assistant. His game show assistant. Did you not know this?
No.
No, you didn't. Okay.
I'm like processing that information.
Yeah. Do I need to show you an image of this?
Yes, please. Like, so for anyone listening who in case they might think I'm a fraud, but I'm absolutely like a DKC 1 and 2 and DKC 1 and 2 for Super Nintendo purist, and then DK64 like is where my heart is, and always has been. I did play some of the handheld versions of DKC, but my kid mind kind of processed them in the wrong way, I think. Definitely. I was like, I have a better version of this, so why would I play this version?
Yeah, I don't recommend the GBA versions over the originals. There are good bits in there, but I think the originals are the definitive take that I would recommend everybody experience first if they can.
I approve of Candy Kong's dress in this. I'm happy with this. Very good, Candy Kong. Very good. Very
the purple,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, that's very good. Oh,
yeah.
My girl. She is a good baby too, so...
the only other thing we would really talk about in the original appearance of Gloomy Gulch was that Clubus Kiosk took you to Fiery Furnace in a Lost World, which out of Lost World stages go is probably the least memorable one, so probably nothing to talk about there. It's the one with the steerable barrels over the lava, so yeah, that one, that happened, but we're not going to talk about it. Okay. So, Gloomy Gulch did return in Donkey Kong Land 2, and of course the stages had all new layouts, plus Haunted Hall, I'm sorry to say, was replaced with Crazy Coaster, another roller coaster stage that in no way involved cackles or library books. So, Daley, where do you stand on Donkey Kong Land 2?
Well, I just touched on it then.
No. Donkey Kong Country 2 GBA is just Donkey Kong Country 2.
Oh, so I thought you said Donkey Kong Country Land 2 for some reason. Like
Donkey Kong Country Land 2. No, that's something you just made up completely. That does not exist.
Like, I've not been drinking wine. You've been drinking wine. So just deal with that. Deal with that as a fact. But no.
Ouch. That was. Gonna have to deal with that.
Again, I'm a purist. I haven't mentioned there. Like, take that as you will, but that's the honest truth.
Have you ever played Donkey Kong Land 2?
No.
I can't breathe. Hold on. You've never played Donkey Kong Land 2. Grant Kirkhope's first game with Rare. You never played it.
No. I'm a Super Nintendo girl through and through.
Okay.
That's just
okay. You could have played it on the Super Nintendo with the Super Game Boy.
But I didn't because I had the superior version already.
But it's not okay. The levels are different. The stages are named the same with one or two exceptions.
Look, that's something that I plan to visit in later life, but I haven't felt the need to yet. Just yet.
Look,
I still have treats for me now because I haven't played it. Right?
You could get hit by a bus tomorrow, or somebody could run up to you and kick you in the kneecap for preferring the wrong video game ghost. You don't know what's going to happen to you tomorrow. You have to seize the day and play the Donkey Kong games you never played.
I'm in no rush. I'm reserving it for when I'm old, and I've been playing Donkey Kong Country for over 40 years, and I need something new about the series to appreciate, and that's what that will be.
All right, well, look, I'll just keep it brief then, since I can have no back and forth with you about this. Crazy Coaster replaced Haunted Hall. My logic was, because I view Donkey Kong Land 2 as a separately canonical adventure from Donkey Kong Country 2, and Crocodile Isle was re-raised through Kremling magic, which we know from Donkey Kong Country 3, Kremlings and K. Rool do utilize magic and spells from time to time. But anyway, because the library was completely incinerated, they just kept the roller coaster, and they tried to build their little Kremland expansion, but it sucked. So, and then the island sank again, so forget about it. and then also, Parachute Panic, you transform
Wait. Can we talk about the name Parachute Panic for a second?
Yes, we can talk about it.
What do you think?
I mean, it's a pretty solid pun, I would say.
On a parrot shitting itself.
Wait, what? No, a parachute panic, not parrot shit panic.
See, in my head, parachute panic is parrot is panicking about its shoot, you know? When you look at the level name, it's like, it's pretty obvious that they're talking about parrot diarrhea.
Parachute. No! It's a parachute. It's a pun on parachute.
I don't give a shit what you say. In my mind, it's about parrot diarrhea, and I'm sure that there's people in the audience who agree with me, and I'm okay with this, right?
Okay.
There's no room for logic on this show, okay? There's no room for...
This show is nothing but logic. As I explained to you before we recorded, this show is very scholarly. It is a respected bit of academia.
Is it actually? Right, hang on, wait. Let me read what you actually said. Wait.
Okay,
We've got it here. Scrolling up. Oh, no, I've accidentally highlighted one of my own messages. Hold on. Should be around here.
Oh, I found it. I found it right here.
Hang on, wait. You said it's a professionally... Fucking hell. It's a professional, scholarly bit of academia. That's what you said about the DK Vine podcast. That's what you said.
Because I said the conversation is a sass-free zone.
But it fucking isn't, is it? No, it's not.
Well, it was until you got here.
I hope that the fans demand me as a co-host more often. Because you know what? I'm willing to be. If you agree with my opinions about, fucking, what's his name? That annoying snake. And...
Trouser.
Wow, you're about to get blacklisted. Fucking if you agree with my opinions about Rattly, Donkey Konga, and Screech, what you should do is start a petition on change.org for me to become a regular host on the DK Vine podcast. Yeah? So, just put it out there. If that's how you feel, about me, then thank you. I appreciate you as my fan. And we'll take down the dictator that is Hyle Russell together.
Yeah, okay. I see. No, I see how it is. I'm losing the grip of my empire. I can feel it slipping through my fingers. I'm gonna have to flee in the dead of night, like the Romanovs. It's fine.
Yes, you will. Anyway, this is your podcast. I apologize.
It is. Thanks for remembering.
For trying to assert dominance there. I got a little bit carried away.
You did, just a little bit. So, anyway, I was just going to talk about your parrot diarrhea for a bit, and how it's interesting to me, maybe not to you, since you hate all parrots from Screech on down.
No, wait, I don't hate Quawks.
Oh, right, Quawks is a good baby.
Good baby.
So, you transform into Quawks, and in my mind, the other purple parrot, Squawk, but it's interesting, you transform into them instead of riding them down. So... in Donkey Kong Country 3, of course, Quawks has full range of flight because you transform into them there, and you can fly up and down and pick up barrels. And I always assumed that the only reason Quawks couldn't fly upwards in Parachute Panic, the SNES version, is because his wings were not as strong as his brother or cousin or whatever Squawks, and couldn't support the weight of the Kong, so he could only descend downwards. But here you're transforming into Quawks and has no Kongs, but he's still only descending downwards. But that's not what happens mere months later in Donkey Kong Country 3. What, did he hit the fucking gym? No, the only answer that makes sense to me would be that the sticky honey from the hive got all up in his wings, and he can't fly very well, and that's the reason. Shut up, fight me. Right, Daley?
I literally do not know what to say to you right now, because you went so hard on that. you went like harder than I went on it. Like, you got some convictions about the DKU, man, and I respect
I know what I like. I know what I like.
You know what you like, and I respect that. Okay, so like, you know, I'm just gonna. I agree with your theory. Like, for a change, I'm on your side.
Oh, gee, thank you. thank you for agreeing with me for a change. It's nice. It feels good. It feels good to have that validation, that little bit that, no, I'm not a complete fuck up, that somebody out there agrees with me, just for once, on my very, very intense arguments about the parrot in the one parrot stage, in the one Game Boy game based on the one Super Nintendo game. Thank you.
You kind of intimidated me into that. And you know what? For that, you deserve my respect. So you have it.
Oh, great. Go. I'm a bully now, too.
Yeah. That's Hyle Russell.
All right. Well, since you never played the Game Boy Advance version because you were completely taken aback by game show assistant Candy Kong, I just sent you another picture because I want to get your thoughts on what Gloomy Gulch looks like on the map screen of the Game Boy Advance.
Oh my goodness me. Goodness me. Goodness me. Goodness me. Goodness me. Goodness me. So it's like dramatically different from the Gloomy Gulch than I'm used to. It almost looks a little bit kind of I want to say like Tim Burton-esque. In it, I don't know. It kind of looks a little bit Play-Doh-y, and it's definitely a lot brighter than the map.
It looks like a cake. It looks like the top of a cake.
That's a perfect way to like sum it up. Actually, it looks like a cake. It's a lot brighter. It looks a lot less spooky, and I guess because I've actually not played this version of it. Like when you're playing through the levels, does it have like a spooky vibe or?
So the entirety of Donkey Kong Country 2, the Game Boy Advance, it's notorious for having washed out, oversaturated backgrounds because it came out before the backlit GBA. So they had to make it visible on the early inferior screen. So everything was washed out. You lost a lot of the detail and a lot of the spookiness as a result. So yeah. Now, they did add the webwood mist to the map screen, so you can't see it in this image of it, but when you're actually playing the game, the mist is throughout the Gloomy Gulch on the map screen. So just imagine this with all that lovely brown fog.
I'm trying to find it now. On YouTube. Because I want to see. No, it's probably going to take me too long to find as well. But you know, if I imagine it with fog, it looks a little bit better to me.
Yeah, they basically made it one level instead of two, and it starts on the right instead of the left. So yeah, no, I don't really care for it as much either. It's not as iconic or spooky, but part of that is the hardware too, so they had to make concessions along the way, unfortunately.
Yeah, like, a thing is with me, like, believe it or not, so I've been playing Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2 since I was, like, 4 years old. I'm 30 now. Well, maybe 4 or 5 years old, so, like, very, very young. Like, it's some of my earliest memories, and I've been playing them, like, every year since then, and I still feel like I'm discovering things about the series. So, like, the SNES versions, so DKC 1 and 2. I'm still discovering stuff about them, like, all these years later, so I feel like the Game Boy Advance version, like, it's something that I'm gonna explore, but not yet. I don't feel like I need to. And that's...
Did you know in the Game Boy Advance version, the mini Neckies actually do have exposed brains?
Are you serious?
You'll just have to play and find out.
You're fucking kidding me. You're trolling me, aren't you? I'm okay with that. I will find out for myself, but not yet. Like I said, wait until I'm old and grey. That's when I'll do it.
Until, somebody comes along tomorrow and hits you in the kneecap, and then you fall over and get run over by a bus, and then that will be the end.
If it's you, I will murder you and take over DK Vine myself. So, yeah, I'm okay with this.
That's fine. It's probably what's going to happen anyway. You probably are going to murder me and probably are going to take it over, but you're not going to tell anybody, and you're just going to write as me, and it's going to be really confusing for people when they learn the truth. Like, how long has this deception been going on? When did he actually die? Oh, I love a good conspiracy theory like this. Let's just say it happened already.
Maybe it did. Maybe I'm talking to myself with a pre-recorded podcast. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah, you're just doing what I threatened you with. You're rearranging all of this previously recorded dialogue you made me say before you strangled the life out of me.
Yes, that's the plot twist of this episode. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I am your queen now. Bye, Ukulele and the Impossible.
This has been a File 2 production.
Que rico.